probably going to spoil it.
That's my DVD copy of The Exorcist literally starts with William Friedkin going, "Hi, I'm William Friedkin. The Exorcist is about this."
Over
the final scene
4.
says something. Like, at least with the Lynn Ramsey one, that was an additional thing. The DVD copy of The Exorcist starts with William Friedkin telling you about The Exorcist. I'm like,
oh, wow.
William, let me watch the film.
You really think it's better than The French Connection, no?
No, it's not as good as the French Connection.
Okay. Hello and welcome back to Animediate.
They're both good. French Connection.
We're on episode 7.
In the podcast.
Sorry, that's what I meant to said.
The French Connection.
Not getting you guys to shut up just fucking reminds me of my D&D days.
Can't we just watch French Connection instead?
Yeah, I mean it's basically an anime. What the fuck? Did the mechs pick their feet for kips? That's the real question.
Okay. Hello and welcome to episode 7. Hopefully I remember to cut.
I'm editing this, bitch. No, you can edit it if you want.
Well, yeah, I swear. Send me the files. Send
I
me
need
the files.
to, I need to upload them first.
Give them to me and I'll send them to Toby.
Thank you.
So I can find a way to preserve the sacred chatting.
I can delete what I want. Anyway.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lock it down.
I'm
give you
selectively fucking editors.
I give you a locked Audacity file where you can't edit.
That doesn't exist. I could just film the audio and then do that.
I'll make it.
Okay. Episode 7.
I'm hacking to Audacity.
Here, I realised something. Apart from, like, Hanoka, like, every main character in every anime we've had has been, like, the same guy. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like the spaghetti western, like, trilogy, except all anime just has that one guy. And
Kaz Khan.
I'm gonna say he's pretty distinct.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but didn't we come to the conclusion that wasn't anime last episode?
It was good. It's the one good thing we did.
So with Symphogear, which is the show we're doing with episode 7, it's got an pretty much an all-female cast. I don't remember how well the first season watches that, because as I said, this has like 4 seasons. Sorry, and the 5th one is airing now, which I'm watching this, and it's been a while since I've gone back to the first one. And the great part about Symphogear is that it gets a lot better every time. And that means going backwards, it's probably going to be a lot worse. Yes. But that being said, Symphogear is this very, very charming show that merges 2 genres that are unique to anime. Well, yeah, I think unique is a good way to put it. So it is a combination of mech shows and idol shows. So basically, mech shows, again, you know what that is, right? Just if a show has robots, mech show. Done. Dusted.
Wait, no, but Pacific Rim's not anime, and they just stole...
Yeah,
Neon Genesis Evangelion just stole from Pacific Rim. They went forward in time and stole the idea. So
it's like the rifts in Bioshock Infinite.
They heard it through that.
They stole the Pacific Rim. And idol shows, which are shows about like a pop group, like a fictional pop group that sings. So I hope you guys like rock/J-pop.
Oh god. Is this emo K-pop?
It's emo K-pop. Ethan is gonna fucking love this. And basically, if you've ever Ethan's just been silent this entire time, accepting the fact that he will have to slowly die as his ears burst over this time. But if you've ever, I know you've all listened to my taste in music before, over the course of write-offs, and if there's ever a high-pitched girl screaming in a song, it's probably from Symphogear. And I really like the music in this, and it sells the action in the show. It's really well made, because it's like, well, we'll see how good the first one is. But
because you've shown me the first episode before.
Did we only get to the first one?
I think so. I think I put my foot down.
Fair enough.
Still, you have come back.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm clawing it back. I'm coming out from the depths. So my whole point with episode 7 being a episode for a bit of gender diversity, the other show we're going to watch, is going to be Madoka Magica, which is a magical girls show. You know, I'm throwing in all the crazy genres from anime, and our argument of me and Jono that has lasted ages, lasted decades, eons, in fact, is Symphogear a show that empowers women? And I'm gonna come down hard on
before
yes.
I see it, can I put my answer in?
Yeah, sure.
Like it's like gonna be like a deal or no deal thing. I'll write on a piece, I'll write on a rock and put it in the middle of the dueling ground, and then at the end I'll turn over the rock. Okay,
just blank.
It's a figurative. So just imagine a rock.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn that over. I've written my answer down now,
Okay.
and at the end of the podcast, I'll tell you the answer.
Wait,
I'm
are
gonna see
you
if it's
actually
there.
going to write it down, or were you just going to say it now?
It's no, I'm not gonna say it. Just imagine it's there.
How do I know you're coming to this conclusion before you've watched the show, though?
Let's be honest. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know.
Harry,
Specifically-
you find a way to incorporate letdown into the podcast now. We're getting close.
I hope this episode isn't a real letdown.
Well, it's
Like
only,
the radio.
it's only 7 out of 10, guys. I don't want you to think I'm showing you, the big guns.
Why are you
yet.
recommending it?
Because it's 7 out of 10. If I know we've forgotten over the last 2 episodes, but this conceit of the show is that the score matches the episode number, and this is 7 out of 10. I think the big appeal to me is I really like the characters. I think it's got a lot of charm, because I think we've realised that the divide between me and everyone else is just the more shit that happens in a show, the better it is. And this is incredible. I've sent Harry and the guys, Ethan, Jono, from photos of things that are happening in the latest season. There's one where it's like, there's this relic we found in the Iraq War,
Oh, that's the thing.
And there was another one that was like a ninja technique car clone. It's like that just comes out of nowhere in the 5th season, that there are ninja techniques you can do in a car. And I'm quite hyped to go back to this.
They're wearing cool suits in that picture. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
the
it's
character
like
designs.
American
The character designs are. Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the fucking Symphogear suits.
Oh no, I'm talking about.
The school uniform.
Yeah, proper suits.
But yeah,
That's a.
Just
it's from Brooks Brothers.
wait until they get into their battle suits.
The battle suits.
Oh no!
I'm
Is it a
not-
kill or kill situation?
No,
the battle
because-
suits are more revealing.
They're actually not even that revealing. Apart from they're kind of skin tight, but they're not revealing. They just look like a clusterfuck, which is the best part, because they must be a massive pain in the ass to
I thought this
animate.
was
I
about
think it just
mech,
shows
of
how-
course.
Yeah, mech. So it's
I
like,
didn't mind this just about singing, and that was really.
yeah. It's like it combines the two. Basically, the idea of Symphogear is that their armor that they wear, that they activate, is powered by them singing along to the beat of the action.
I'm gonna pick up that rock and throw it away because I'm now excited for this shit.
And it's basically just very well timed, over the top action with great characters and a stupidly ridiculous plot that knows it's stupid, but it's fun anyway. I'm hyped. Let's go.
Welcome to the bread bank.
That was the first episode of Symphogear. It was pretty cool. Who wants to recap, or should I start?
I would recap, but I'm a bit confused.
Okay.
I can try and recap, and then you can
Okay.
correct me.
Okay. Yeah. Go
Alright.
ahead.
So it starts in what looks like an apocalyptic future,
Mhm.
and it's a grave of a blondie, and someone's crying on it.
Mhm.
Who was crying on it? Was it the redhead?
The person who was crying was Miku, which is the friend that we saw
Okay.
at school.
And then it's 2 years earlier.
Mhm.
Okay. And then there was a concert,
Yeah.
and the red and blue haired girl
Mhm.
were singers, and the blonde girl was
Oh,
going
singers.
to their concert. And I think they performed a pretty good beat,
Mhm.
a pretty good gig. And then they were like, "We're doing that's not it, guys. We're doing another song." It's like, okay, yeah, we know our concerts are. And then a villain called Noise attacks. I'm like, this is great. Like they're singers who also, they also are like mech warriors for some reason, and they got magic with Hideo Kojima. So that they turn into their mech warrior outfits. And I'm like, this is sick. And they're fighting this villain called Noise, and then it gets really horrific, and Noise just starts killing the civilians, going crazy. So I'm kind of wondering about this Noise, how long they've been a threat for. If they attack Noise like A Quiet Place, or they're just called Noise for some reason. Okay, and then we have a scene where the redhead saves the blonde girl, and she's like, "I'm gonna sing my nuke song," basically,
Mhm.
and she does her song. and she goes into conveniently right above her tits. I think, and then we cut to present day. So that's 2 years in the future. But by present day, surely the blonde girl would be dead.
Well, it's
What does present day mean?
it's a bit before the thing that's at the very opening.
Okay.
So it's like
It could have told us that.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I was just like, what? Is this a third? Yeah. Okay,
Fair
so
enough.
she's a schoolgirl. I don't know how old she is. Do you know how old she is?
I actually don't know. I mean, they're anywhere in the nebulous range of like 14 to 25.
Okay, so she's a high school girl, and she's awkward. It's
Probably 18.
There's like a music. I saw a music academy. She goes with the blue-haired girl, obviously from earlier, and she wants to get the CD of her because obviously her partner's died. You know,
Just
she's
to
releasing
buy
that
some
solo
videotapes.
album on CD, that vintage collection. You know, we have a POV shot of her looking down at her tits, which was the first time I was like, maybe what I wrote in that rock was correct. Before then, I wasn't thinking that, but a few more male gazy deacon shots, and maybe I would have been right.
I mean, they're like compared to other things, they're a few
it's
and far
been,
between.
it's been very
But
reserved.
it is
You've had
still-
no leery camera angles or anything.
Yeah, but it's just when you like double check something, you're just like, oh, you're wearing what? Because there's a bit where there's the bit where a female scientist turns, and there is too much on that.
I mean, I didn't know.
That
I didn't notice that.
exists for like 1
Yeah,
second.
but there's also a bit when Hideo is it's just the actor's name, but like when Hideo is there, the person next to him, the woman next to him, from the angle you get from what you can tell, she basically seems to be wearing an open shirt, and that's another little bit in there, and also just the suits they have. You claim that they're not
revealing.
The-
I mean,
no,
they're
no,
skin tight, but they're not.
Okay,
like,
the way.
revealing.
Okay, this is the way it works. So an attractive woman is wearing skin tight clothes, and it is a shot of her entire body. That is not exploitative. The second the camera kind of becomes like the eye that's just staring at the tits, or there's a shot gliding up her, that's when it becomes exploitative. That's the male gaze. But like those combat scenes weren't as bad as like Bayonetta, which I probably wouldn't call sexist. So I'd say it was fine until that one shot. I don't know why we're getting hung up
I
on this.
definitely, yeah. I mean,
Noise
I know
attacks.
that is our goal, is to prove that this is actually a feminist empowerment. I'm not gonna lie, it's not like it has no moments.
You're
like
part
that.
of the backdoor cast.
It definitely, yeah. I mean, this has like this. The entire cast is lesbians. I'm sorry, Ethan. You can hate the show more than you already do.
It's not like the greatest passage of the Bechdel test of all time, which is the film Persona. And that film is just passing the Bechdel test like in every scene. So noise attacks at the end.
What is this test? I've never heard. But
You know, okay.
Basically,
Is it
it's
the
just,
test-
if two women talk about something that
It's
isn't
not
a
a
man,
man, right?
Yeah,
then
they have to be both named as well. Named characters. So noise attacks. The blonde girl, don't know her name because I'm sexist. She grabs a smaller girl, and they're running away from the noise. I don't know. I still want to know the frequency of noise attacks. Like we see the army.
Frequency.
Yeah, I kind of want to know the history, like how long this has been going on.
Well,
But
we'll
yeah,
see. I
I'm
think
sure we
it'll
will find
come
out. The army are like, our weapons don't work against them, which makes me think it's frequent.
Mm.
Like if they don't know that. But also 2 years earlier they attacked her. Who knows? And the blue-haired girl does some fighting, and then she's like, "Oh, there's more. We have to fight them." And then she sings a song, and a Marvel third act sky beam comes out of her chest, signaling up to Hideo Kojima's spaceship that that's where they need to attack. And then she gets some superpowers, and her costume looks really shit. But we didn't see it, so it might be good. And then it ended, and I was like, that was alright. There you go, that's my synopsis.
That's a pretty solid description, I'll say.
And then there was a lighthouse, and then Letdown played.
I was gonna read the bio in my anime list, the description of this show, but it like says like everything that happens in this episode. So it's kind of a bit of a spoiler, even though it's the first episode. But yeah, you guys hyped?
Yeah, I thought the red-haired girl had a really cool character design. I really liked her hair. Basically, that's what I mean by character design. The hair was like really cool. Like, I like how it went off in different directions, and because of that, I'm sad that character died. Although I had very little time to care about the character, even though there was a really good piece of editing. There's some good shots in this actually. There's a really good not that shot. There was some really good like editing where it kind of flashed red when she got shot, the blonde girl, and I thought that was really effective. But then they did that again later in the episode in a less effective way, where they zoomed in with flashing red, and that kind of made me like that shot less because I thought it was like a really original thing to do. But yeah, there's some cool stuff in this. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah. Besides, Ethan, do you dislike the music?
Yeah, I don't hate this at all,
Okay.
but
That's
I
good.
just
That's good.
yeah. I mean, when you're
Sorry.
I've only watched.
I'm sorry to the listeners, all I can hear is Chris rattling.
Well, I do. To be honest, the more prominent thing is if you like the show. You know.
Well, I was going to say, I
Your paranoid
have
thing
very
is
little to
definitely
say apart from the fact that, I mean, you told me before this that it was anime and a musical. And those are possibly the two worst genres that you
Kryptonite.
Wait,
No,
fucking musicals are well good.
it's an
The Muppets
anime
2011 is the best
musical
film ever
mech
made.
show.
Bugsy Malone is a good musical. That's the only good musical that exists.
Mate, you probably like West Side Story.
I don't know what it is.
You probably like La La Land if you got over the first
No,
season.
no, I don't
You
like
would.
that.
It's got Ryan Gosling in it,
I don't care.
and he's not being sad like he is in all his other films. That everyone
I've
is like,
disliked Ryan Gosling films in the past. The thing about this show, from what I've seen so far, is the only unique thing about it that I've not seen somewhere else before is that they've tried to combine action and mech suits that are powered by music and singing.
Yeah.
And that to me is the dumbest concept I have ever heard. And I'm really sorry, but
to
I think
me,
it's so
also
stupid.
Yeah, but that's good.
simultaneously the best concept because
you don't want anime to be like serious, like right? You go to it for the ridiculously over. Like if you wanted like normal stuff, you just watch live action, right?
That's
Yeah.
not true.
The
What's,
point-
what's the? I mean, they're going for one thing. Grave of the Fireflies is obviously going for something different, but Grave of the Fireflies is serious. It gets
You're not allowed to bring up Grave of the Fireflies. You have to bring up another anime. It's not Grave of the Fireflies because that's the
no
good.
other good anime.
That's the easiest.
There is no other 10 anime. No, you know what? The other thing is, I do not. I think my least favourite storyline that you
It's
can
better
do
now
in
that
a-
it's
in
not
an
a
action
centimetre
film
away from
or
the
anything
mic.
that's heavily related to action is the concept of aliens invading Earth. I hate that so much. I really
it's the
don't like it.
noise.
Well, they're not human.
Hey,
They're
yeah.
from another planet.
Fine.
Yeah.
I do not like invasions like that in
I
film. I just
Don't
find them
particularly
really
like the
uninteresting.
design as well of noise.
They
although
do
it's-
quite silly.
No, I quite like
It's
noise.
fun.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
That's all I care
So,
about.
I mean, the
I
fact that they just murk people is like, whoa.
and then just stand conveniently, just
They're not very
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm going to say is I don't hate it, but it is a musical, and the premise I find really dumb. So, and the other problem is that I've got 12 more episodes of this to watch as well. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost not massively looking forward to it.
There's 4 seasons, Ethan. Watching all 4. What do you think the rest of Animediate is?
Yeah, it's got some novel value, but I don't see it managing to sustain it for a whole series, particularly. And I think I'd enjoy a lot more the I'd enjoy it a lot more if it was more a musical style that I liked, that was being the thing empowering
Fair
the.
enough.
If it was like a sung through anime, like they had no dialogue, it was like Hamilton, everything was just song. That would be impressive. I'd like that more.
I mean, they
If it was
managed
just-
to loop everything into pretty much everything into music at least.
Yeah, but like there's literally no dialogue. It's all sung.
Like Hamilton. that's
Yeah,
good.
that would be incredible.
Maybe
I actually completely agree with Jonathan. I think I would like the musical genre more if it was a musical genre that I liked. Whereas the most,
That's the worst sentence you've ever said. I would like the musical genre more if it was a musical genre I liked.
okay, I'll rephrase.
I mean, you know what your point is, which fair enough.
I would like the musical genre more if the genre of music was a genre.
Alright,
I liked.
I would like Hitler more if it was a Hitler I liked.
No, but it is true. I mean, when the majority of an episode is singing based and the genre of music is a genre that you dislike,
Yeah.
J-pop, it's like I don't like pop music and I don't like Japanese pop music doesn't make it better, or worse, it's still pop music and I don't like it. If it was, imagine if we were watching something and it was a soundtrack by the Black Keys or something like that, I'd just be like,
Okay.
let's just watch this.
It'd be really weird if it was like they have to sing, but it's like really experimental music. It's like it's Amnesiac by Radiohead,
No, I love
and
that.
it's just banging on like
I
tin
would love
cans
that.
or whatever.
I would love that because that would hook me a lot more than the most generic trashy pop music I've ever heard, where the editing is so constant and so frequent that you have half a second to look at what's on the screen before it's just flying into the next shot, and it's like it's actually trying to be a music video. And I love music videos. Don't get me wrong, but not an anime.
I've got an idea for an anime. Okay, so it's set in the Wild West, and our main character is Johnny Cash, and when he sings the song "Hurt," he gets a samurai sword that he can use to kill bad guys, but only when he sings "Hurt." So he's got to fight off these bad guys, and just every time they appear, he's got to go hurt mas, and just repeat the song. So it's the same premise as this, but it's just the song "Hurt" 5 times an episode.
Something like this I can think of in sort of more Western media is what's his name? But in Guardians of the Galaxy, the guy who whistles and that makes his arrow fly around.
Yeah.
That's the sort of
And that's cool.
musical. Yeah. Like it is this idea can be done in a slightly more, I say not really serious, but I think could be done in a
But
more
you still-
effective
Yeah, but why would
I'm-
you though? What would be the point?
Wait, isn't there like a Jack Black film where they like save the world through music or whatever? Isn't that a thing?
Tenacious D.
Yeah.
That's the film based on their band. That he has.
Isn't that basically this?
Possibly? I just.
Yeah, I mean they have like a rock duel with the devil. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Tenacious D are a rock band.
I think.
But it's like, I think ultimately what it just comes down to is the fact that I just don't like the songs, and in the past
Fair
all
enough.
the
I
musicals
mean,
that have ever been.
this is gonna be a wild ride for you then, and you're not getting off.
It is quite
Yeah,
funny
right.
seeing some of the English lyrics in the top left
Oh,
corner. Some of them do make me
I
laugh.
think either episode 2 or episode 3 has the worst Japanese person trying to speak English in anime that I've ever heard, so much that it personally offends me, even though me trying to speak Japanese would probably sound even worse.
Is it as bad as Tracer? The most offensive British stereotype.
It's worse. It's like, oh no,
It's the most
who
offensive
thought this
British
was
stereotype.
okay?
Tracer from Overwatch.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
Cheers,
Tim Roth from Hateful Eight or something.
Oh, that's just funny though.
Apocalypse Now is like Vietnam War, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Imagine if like to
But don't
to
suggest
do
it,
anything,
please. No, don't
they,
suggest
to do
that as a
to do
concept.
anything,
Power
they have
the
to
boat.
sing "Fortunate Song," a song.
You talked about if the music was the Black Keys. For me, because I was playing Black Ops, the first one, I was listening to the Black Keys. So to me, Vietnam and the Black Keys music are just
that's
synonymous.
Because Black Ops
So-
1 has such good music.
I
You
mean,
should have
well,
just...
just the
It's
I
got
mean,
just the Rolling Stones' entire discography.
Yeah, but Black Keys works because it's like they
'Cause
have like a
Ethan likes
classical
it.
rock kind of sound, don't they? So it works with that genre really well.
I mean, the thing about Ethan calling it a dumb concept is like, all right, fair enough, but like, what better way to get music timed to action than to actually like diegetically have the music be sung as they are fighting?
Yep.
It's a
Okay,
pretty cool
diegetically
idea.
is a good point, but non-diegetically you could just have the final jewel from the good, the bad.
Imagine
and
if
the
Thor
good
had to
just
sing.
works.
Oh, that would be
song.
incredible if Ecstasy of Gold, like a band was
There's just an
following
orchestra
him.
in the
Yeah.
background. Yeah.
See, this is actually
Well,
the best
I mean-
idea for
I
a
mean,
show.
It's I know it's not the best, but in the good, the bad, and the ugly, there is that scene where there is an orchestra playing outside while someone's getting tortured, and that works really well. I know that's not something that you can just do every 5 minutes like you could. In
I
this.
can't wait for the scene in this show where there's just one of them singing while someone gets tortured. Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's go.
The alternative endings of The Last of Us.
Welcome to the bread bank.
Who wants to recap this one?
I've got to admit, I think I didn't catch most of it.
Yeah, I didn't catch most of this one. I think it's like
Ethan was looking at
she's-
his
the younger girl, the orange-haired one, Ginger, we'll say, is she finds out that she's one of the Symphogears? Symphogears, that's right. She finds out that she's one of them. Not quite sure how she found that out.
She did a medical exam, and also she used the power at the end of last.
Oh yeah, she got some injury from
Yeah.
2 years ago. At
Yeah.
the, right, that's it,
Okay.
that was his episode.
Basically, Hibiki has the fragments of Canada's, which is the red-haired girl from the first episodes, like Symphogear in her body, which is how she could activate the Symphogear in like at the end of last episode, and she's introduced to the second division of Japan's abnormal scenarios countermeasure unit or something, whatever it's called.
Don't they abbreviate it?
Oh, I don't fucking know. And
do you ever hear from a first division?
I
Or
said
is this...
that they mention it in this episode. They literally say like, "Oh,
Oh.
their first division, no, we're handling this one," and yeah, that's the law. And basically, how it goes is Tsubasa is like, "Yo, oh no, I'm still sad over the death of my partner, Canada, and
From 2 years ago.
From 2 years ago." And Hibiki's coming in and being like, "Yo, I want to fight with you," and they're not gelling well, and so they don't fight well together. You know, they're not in max synchronization, and Tsubasa's just gonna.
It would be really funny
Hibiki.
because, like, I think the episode. My problem is within the first minute, it's already broken the premise of the show, where they have to be singing, but like she's not singing and she's fighting them. There's a song going on in the background. I'm assuming that's coming.
Well, they when they sing, they like gain more power.
Yeah,
you know?
but like I liked the joke that they have to constantly be singing to fight.
Well,
And I thought it would have been funny if, to show the two of them out of sync. They just don't gel up. They're singing over the top of each other. Like they're singing different genres of music. That would have been funny.
That would have been really funny. I will say that because I don't think we'll ever watch it, but if we do, that'll be fun. But basically, in a later episode, like in a later season, the villains, they use like water attacks, and I didn't give much thought to it. But then I realised, the reason they're using water attacks is because if the Symphogears are underwater, they can't sing, and they're so much weaker.
I'd be way funnier if they just sung different types of music. Like you just had like the jazz, like armada of noise in like season 3, where it's just a bunch of like jazz music, and they beat it by using cultural appropriation.
That would be funny. That would be funny. But I still like the music they've got going on now. And I'm hyped for next episode. I'm hyped for the worst English.
Oh yeah,
Japanese.
you've got me excited by this.
It's like uncomfortable.
I think I'm just
gonna
gonna
leave the room.
I'm gonna turn over that rock already because like we had for our first episode we had one shot that I'm gonna call a deacon shot. You know, we had one. This episode, pretty much off the bat, we have 5 or 6. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop counting now. It's just one of those shows. I'll deal with it.
There was a very.
So
very
we're frozen
interesting
at the
part.
moment in the credits, and we've got some tits.
Yeah, I'm enjoying every.
Statues
Yeah, I'm
from
enjoying
it.
every time Johnny brings it up, and Tony's like, "Johnny, stop looking." It's like it's a whole shot. It would just be tits. And Johnny got tits, and Tony would be like, "I'm not looking."
To be fair, one of them was like, you could, in that split frame, you could see someone's belly button.
Yeah, that's
or the
true.
person in the
That
background. They have like a
Oh, well,
top.
that-
and I'm
that-
like, what?
At that point, I wasn't like.
Harry, that's one of the funniest things.
I wasn't necessarily saying at that point that was
Okay.
open. I was just amused
Johnny,
that they were
stop
still
looking.
just drawing in a belly button, basically.
Okay, I'll
how-
be honest. Some of them, yeah. Some of it's
Like
very.
Leone,
It's one of the
zoom into just a pair of tits. Like, I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at the top left.
I mean, I'll be honest. There are other seasons that are worse than this one. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not the worst show we've watched for it. But like in terms of like trying to sell this as like the feminist anime.
My main point
No.
was that it was female empowerment by the definition that it is literally about females that get more powerful. That's my entire argument. And Jono was still like, no.
Yeah, and above that, you just got the fact
But
that
that's
the
like
person who
Joss
seems to
Whedon.
actually lead this group, or
Yeah,
like,
but Josh Whedon had like one female character.
Yeah, but that's like Joss Whedon, like powerful. Like if I think if a character, if you have a character that is just a woman but she's God, but the camera like shoots her in a way that kind of is degrading and sexualizing, you can't say that's empowering.
and also the fact
Like
that
literally having power is not like.
I mean,
we've been introduced to like 2 male characters so far in this one, and they have not been
background.
shot
I do
at
like
all in the
Hideo
same
Kojima
way.
is great.
background
Though.
boring characters that do nothing.
Hideo
apart
Kojima's
from-
great, he's
apart from
buff.
Hideo Kojima, who's just the boss.
Yeah, and that's the other
He's
thing.
big
It's like, yeah,
boss.
maybe it's female empowerment, but still, ultimately, the boss is a man.
That's such a like pedantic thing to point out. It's like they're like the main characters are all women. Come on. They're
Yeah,
powerful.
but it feels like, it feels like they're the main characters because that's usually with sort of J-pop, you've got female singers. It doesn't feel to me like it's empowering them. It's just like most J-pop singers are female, so of course the J-pop singers that save the world would be female.
Yeah, but they get more powerful though when they sing. Their power level was at one level, and then you can plot it, and it goes up as you watch this show.
Do they get more powerful when another character comes along and says, "Take off all your clothes and never talk about this again"?
That's a doctor, Ethan, okay? I'm sorry. I don't want to steel man this show, okay? I'll be honest, it does, like, John made the point, like, fair enough, yeah, they do show a character in the shower, you know? But, like, it's not like Eromanga Sensei is my point, you know? It's not like, these
you're not trying to say that Eromanga Sensei is a female
Yeah, I'm saying this is a lot better. It's like, yeah, this is female empowerment. This is as good as it gets.
Jonathan, did you not hear?
John, no one is talented enough to make more female empowering things than this, okay? Name a more powerful female.
I just
can't do it.
I just can't wait to watch more of this show where they get more powerful as the show goes on.
He literally understands the appeal of anime now. I'm gonna pray.
Wait, I just want to say that I want to see a live action remake where it's Kanye West, Fergie from Black Eyed Peas, Cardi B, and Pitbull, and they all have to work together.
And
create the perfect fusion of rap to defeat. I don't know what the villain. I don't know
the noise.
The
The
noise.
boss is Frank Sinatra, right?
Yeah, no, Frank Sinatra is their boss. Yeah.
That's what I just said.
I thought you said the villain. Yeah, sorry, you did say the boss is Frank Sinatra.
I said
No,
the
Ethan,
boss is
the boss isn't Frank
You said, no,
Sinatra.
the boss is
Frank Sinatra is the boss. But it's a holographic Frank Sinatra, and he flies them to the moon. It would be so good.
Do they still wear the Symphogear outfits?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But Kanye West wears it as well.
yeah,
and he just has
yeah,
massive tits.
Yeah, so it's the most skimpy for the men.
You're like,
But that would work
No
as a
one
feature
woman
length
should
film.
have all that power.
Is that something that Tupac said
That's
in
kind
the
of
Donkey video?
Oh yeah.
No man should have that power. That would work as a feature-length film. It's just 13 episodes, all about half an hour long.
I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna secure funding from MGM and the Weinstein Company.
Make it an
secure funding from Metro Music, which is debuting to massive.
Could you imagine
international-
if I made this film and it
reveal.
was just produced by the Weinstein Company? I just never explain it. I'm just like, I'm the CEO now. No, they thought the name was tainted, but I've turned it around with Symphogear.
You're gonna use it for good.
It's like the this is just completely random, like at the end of the Borderlands Telltale game, where just your main character Reese just picks up like the Atlas Corporation deed and just
funny.
owns Atlas now.
That's really funny. Alright, are we ready for the next episode?
Yeah. Not now because I'm going, but
Wait, are you really
In the future.
eventually. Yeah.
Harry,
Let's
stay
go.
for one more episode, won't it?
No, I don't have time.
Bye, Harry.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the bread bank.
All right. Well, let's
And Brown 0.
and the Browns that are. I
If you
don't,
don't do it,
like
like-
to racially profile.
I
my
mean, if you
hands.
don't do it instantly, you won't you fuck up. Click, hurry. Thank you. If you spend 30 seconds debating over it like Ethan does.
Someone
Anyway.
may watching what you browse.
Now we need the alpha server, not this fucking beta server.
VPN is strongly recommended.
Talk about a hot girl looking for men over 30.
Oh, and Jim the Bin Man goes from bankruptcy to cryptocurrency.
So bankruptcy.
I like the. Just saying he goes to cryptocurrency. He doesn't say he exited bankruptcy. He just changed the money he
Jonathan,
has.
don't miss your chance to bang the hottest girls in Maidenhead. He
Maidenhead.
knows where you live.
Yeah, well,
We recording?
that is
Okay.
episode 3.
Who wants to recap? I've forgotten who's done it so far.
Alright, I can. I'll just say, look, this one, we got promised they're gonna fight. And you have a bit of non-linear storytelling, where it's like they haven't fought together in months, but then they show that original fight for some reason. I thought they did a good job of not showing that and just implying a fight, but now they have to go and show it, so that felt like a bit of a waste. More of the same. The noise just don't really move. They're kind of there. it ends with like a Power Rangers villain coming out of the shadows wearing some armor that the producer wasn't paying attention and missed.
Yeah.
Well, they just brought that element out of nowhere.
I'm sure they'll explain it again, but it is brought up at some point.
It's
in
the
what it is.
Matsukuse armor or
The
whatever.
Nekustan armor or whatever.
Neshutan.
Fuck it, who knows?
Yeah, and I still think the conceit of it. This is probably not the show's fault. It's pretty much just my fault, more Tony's fault. But I was sold on the show being like they have to sing to fight, but instead they sing one line and the song plays in the background while they fight, not singing. So this is obviously just a show with music and action. But I thought it was going to be more like their song like gives them their power.
I mean, that is it. It's
But
just
they
they don't have to sing like constantly 100%.
I don't know.
Like,
I feel
when
like
they're singing, they are powered up to fight.
So they sing like one line, get powered up, and then a song plays for us, the audience, diegetically.
No,
but in the
they're
universe,
when the song is playing and you hear the subtitles, that's them singing.
but they're not. I can see their lips.
Well, the lip syncing is bad. Yeah.
No, but they're not. Their mouths aren't open. They'd be like, "I'm going to kill you with my sword," while like some music is going on in the background.
Well, sometimes it's a different person's song singing though. They don't play like all two songs at once.
So who's singing?
Well, sometimes it's the blue. In this episode, there was the blue-haired girl was singing, and
Do they have to sing to power their own suit, or if someone?
well, the
just
thing
sings
is, you
that
can't
powers
have
all
two
suits?
separate songs playing at once.
That would be way funny.
But it would also
Is this show trying to be
sound
funny
like
or
a
is it trying to be cool?
I
Because
think it's just trying to be a bit of both. I mean, it's mostly cool though.
yeah, I think I'm going into this. We're looking for the comedy and the conceit when it's not that funny.
I think it's hype as fuck.
It's got some funny lines.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that was incredibly funny was the best walk cycle I have ever seen, which was like worse than Ninja Slayer. It's like a very rough like 2-frame like shoulders moving back and forth of Tsubasa walking. But like the whole thing is set on like a rocking like tilt left and right, and it looks ridiculous. And they fixed it in the Blu-rays, but not in this version that we found. And it's
In the
incredibly
Blu-rays.
fun.
Can you buy this on Blu-ray if you wanted?
Yeah, that's how anime like makes its money.
Yeah, they're really expensive as well.
Yeah,
I tried to get a few like anime films and Blu-rays, just didn't
yeah, it's because they milk the fans that like will spend a lot of money.
too much. Yeah, this is alright. It's much more of a titty show than I remembered. Maybe because we had that argument and I was trying to be on your side, and then coming back to it a few days later, I'm like, oh no, this is a titty show.
Mm.
Like not all the characters, but like most of them.
They've got
Not
titties. So Hideo just gets to
Hideo is a
be-
very buff man.
Yeah, just the cool man who's just like, the women are fighting. I'd better walk
And
out.
He gets Tarantino
Walk
shot.
out.
He is the boss.
Alright.
Yeah.
I still think they're being empowered.
This had the one.
Their power level is going up.
This had the funny line of don't worry, our secret base is completely safe. It was modelled off pagans or something like that.
That does sound funny, but then you realise like all their armour and stuff, all the Symphogears are like ancient relics. So I guess the pagans just had powerful technology.
You haven't seen Midsummer, where Florence Pugh summons a mech suit by singing. It was great. Yeah, I don't really like that character. She's quite creepy, and like not in like a fun way. She's just like makes me uncomfortable for our very young protagonist. She's gonna get sexually assaulted in her workplace. And
True.
yeah,
Yeah, there's also the subplot with Hibiki and Miku, her friend. They want to see fireworks. They want to see those meteoroids falling, burning, disappear. Then ... But her job is getting in the way. The fact that she's got to be a superhero on the down low.
it's basically Spider-Man.
Yeah,
You want to see the shooting stars?
it's a shame. Ethan, what are your thoughts?
You
You sold on the show yet? Is it 10 yet?
No. It's very I don't know. I think in this episode, I noticed more so than in previous episodes just how the lyrics to the song that they sing are just so like
Over the top.
no, it's not even that they're over the top. I just find them like overly sentimental and
That's
kind
the
of
point of this
uninteresting.
show,
And it's just
though.
like
It's like heart on its sleeve kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I don't mind something having heart, obviously, but it just all the lyrics feel like I could just take them out of a very cliched pop song and.
By the thousandth summer that I have missed you, or I don't know. I'm trying
I
to.
don't feel like
what
pop
I'm
music
more
today is
talking
this like intense.
No, it
would be
not
like,
from an
yeah,
instrumental
I
point
fuck a
of view.
bitch. Yeah, this is like
all right.
the power of my dreams fills me with something.
Yeah, that's a song from Atlanta. That's not like
What? The power of dreams.
No, not the power of dreams. I'm fucking
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah, I fuck a bitch. Yeah. I mean, that's from the live action adaptation of Symphogear, to be fair.
Nah, but I don't know. There's just something about the lyrics. They don't really. They just don't paint a vivid image in my mind. They're all just like, oh, it's a candle and it's light and it's the warmth of my heart. It's like, I'll just get out of there with that bullshit. I'm just like, no.
Fair enough, but I think it's cool.
That's fair enough, I guess.
That's going to be my. You could play that defense for like all of Mediate,
I
all
don't
of
know.
Animediate.
I
so
feel
fair
like
enough,
I
but think
would.
it's cool.
I'd like this a lot more if it was maybe a feature-length film rather than a 13-episode. Trying to. It just doesn't feel like it's doing enough to sustain that initial premise.
I feel like
they sing while they fight. That's the idea.
I feel like it's more. It gets into a lot of like the character stuff though. The fact that it's showing like Tsubasa still being sad over her partner dying and Hibiki trying to replace her and you know trying to see like, oh no, this is causing the rift.
Okay, and that's interesting. And I do like that conflict, like honestly. But I just hope that they don't spend the next, however, 9 episodes or so
4
just
seasons.
milking that 4 seasons, just milking that conflict of I can't get over the loss of the person I used to fight with, who I was really really close to, and you're not going to replace it.
I don't think they milk it too much. I think this show is good at coming up with new ways to inject melodrama into itself. But
Okay.
it's not shit melodrama. It's actually like cool.
I think you could make an interesting sort of karaoke game where it's just like I don't know, it's a combat game, but you've got to sing, and like the better you sing, the like more powerful your
The more
character
phonic
hits.
gain you get, John, the more
Yeah.
relics you can activate. I think that would be really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, you could. Off the conceit, I wouldn't brand it around this game, around this show, but you know, right?
We're going to watch episode 4.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is the one that has the bad English in it. It's going to come eventually.
Oh yeah, we're still waiting on that.
Alright, see you. Welcome to the bread bank. If one of these was become the king, you best not miss.
Right. Symphogear. It's structured very weirdly. It's like flashbacks. It's
Flash sandwiches.
yeah. It's dream sequences. It's hallucinations. It's visual metaphors. It's all kind of presented without much clarity. The first half of this episode was like a fight, and then it was like ambiguous if she's going to die or not, which is a good place to leave it. But then like there's another half, and they're like, oh no, she's fine.
I just love the line of with great difficulty she's saved. She's good. She's gonna live.
They have a new thing called a swan song. That's a funny joke. I like that. It starts off like really grim. Turns out the red-haired girl didn't just naturally have the powers. She like got injected with the powers. And she's like an actual fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
Like it's a crazed killer. And I enjoyed that. I was like, oh, okay, we're actually learning more about this character. This isn't 13 Reasons Why. Second half of the episode wasn't as good. A lot of kind of very, I don't know if it's trying to be heartfelt or like cute or wholesome, but it kind of reads as, I don't know, cheesy and tacky, and I don't know. I didn't.
I don't know. I'm kind of for it. I kind of like it, and I just like the fact that she is fighting for something that she wants to protect.
She should have told us that. I didn't catch that.
Maybe the show will finally state that in explicit terms.
It's not
but-
subtle. Like it's,
Yeah.
it's like
I don't
I'm
know.
sad, and then like what if it like tears of sadness appears on screen, and then like tear laser blasts fall from the sky, and she's like, she was crying because she was sad. It's in the dialogue. It's like,
Why would you want things to be subtle though, when they could be instead turned up to 11?
why can't you just have 10 and make that the highest.
I'm just in the mood for love, but you know, he keeps on breaking out the tears of rain.
It's like a huge sword, like partners are having an affair.
It's like when he even says like, yeah, oh, if in the mood for love was animated, like, yeah, because that would contradict like it on like a fundamental level, the things it's going
To power their mech suits, they have to play that song they played in the mood for love on repeat. That's what gives them the mech suits.
Please. Please stop.
I kind of like it. I appreciate that it's not, you know, it's like as deftly done. It's not like subtle. It's not like, oh, if you blink you'll miss it. It definitely puts it right in front of your face. But I still think it works. I still think it you know, it grabs you by the heartstrings. I think.
But why not just have a character cry and then you can assume as an intelligent audience member that she's sad about something?
Because she's even more sad if someone else then has to cry about the fact she's crying and says like, she was so alone, you know, I'll be there for them, and then they also have a friend that there's also sad about them crying, and it's a whole web of sadness, and everything is multiplied by everything else, creating a better show.
We haven't even talked about the noise spunk.
Nice.
Oh.
Such spunk. Alright, she was not being empowered in that moment, I'll give you that. She was definitely, her power levels were dropping by the fact she was covered in a white sticky liquid that was locking her in place by those weird tower noise people.
Yeah, the noise designs are not very good on my newest
They're
side.
very weird. But they introduced, I don't know if this is the last episode, but they introduced a new character.
Yeah, Power Rangers villain.
Mm-hmm. You're going to learn more about them.
They can spawn noise.
Yeah, they've got the little jingle jangler that does it.
Yeah.
I think it's quite neat. I mean, you know, Tsubasa did the nuke to try and, you know, blast her away. She did that cool ninja move, which is you fucking stop someone in place by stabbing their shadow, which you know, isn't technically possible, but you know.
I mean, have you ever tried it, Tony?
You know what? Maybe if I believe it'll work. God, shadow weaving. Yeah, I'm quite hyped. I think there's some other stuff that was introduced, like the fact that, you know, the Nehushtan armor is the one that was stolen from Tsubasa 2 years ago when Kanade died. And like Tsubasa's like says like on the nose, like, man, what are the odds that the armor that was stolen from me and the fragments of Gungnir are here with me today. Anyway, I'm gonna sing my final swan song and cry. And yeah, it's over the top. I'm for it. I'm sold. I'm having a good time. You guys having a good time?
Yeah, it's alright.
It's alright, you know, I'll take that. We're only on Animediate 7.
I think
it does
I'm-
get a
I
lot
was
better.
really hoping that the anime was going to start to become...
What less anime like?
No. Obviously not less anime like. But I mean, we started off from a position of such awful nonsense with Eromanga Sensei. We're meant to be rising up the ranks, and obviously this is much better than Eromanga Sensei. But it doesn't feel like we're at the opposite end of the spectrum.
7 does feel worse than 6. Like,
Well, with 6
yeah.
we did mostly good things that you guys picked.
Why is SAO Abridged like not what we're doing now? Because SAO Abridged just is the best thing that we've done on this podcast so far by a
Well, fair
country
enough.
mile.
I mean, I agree by the ratings that I give to SAO Abridged. But we'll get to that. We'll get to it, you know. We're rising up. We're in our training montage right now.
Oh yeah, the training
with
montage
Genjiro.
was the best bit
Yeah.
about the episode. And
What?
that could have been an episode in itself.
Could have.
And instead
I
of
don't
just like
disagree.
the heart inside my heart cries for your heart, I have something to protect for like 5 minutes, and then like if we sing a song, we can use the weapon to secure the Iraq region. I feel like just the training montage of the characters is more entertaining than the other 2 things the show does.
The training montage was good.
Yeah, that
Like,
last one.
I do like the guy who's like, have you seen action movies? And that's how he gets his powers.
Yeah, I do love the part where they just like reference Kill Bill referencing a Bruce Lee film. That part is quite good. Right, yeah.
They could have just just been Rocky 4 and just had half an hour's worth of montage in the just the whole episode is a montage.
I quite like the montage. That's another moment that I've gone back and rewatched.
One of 2 post-credit scenes in this episode.
Was it like a mid-credit scene or something? That was
it was like
very strange.
Yeah, because it had the montage was going whilst the credits were going, and then you just had
Post-credit scene.
a post-credit scene.
Anyway.
So you had a credit scene and a post-credit scene.
It was a meteor shower, but the video is black. But I assume when she passed over, she just hadn't unlocked her phone. It is just black. Alright.
I mean, iPhones are really bad in low light settings. You know, I believe it. There's a believable element of the show.
But
I
pitch
think
black.
it was also that.
Yeah, it's really bad.
My thinking was they were in like the middle of the day looking at the screen there. Like often you just can't see anything in that situation on the screen anyway.
I just assumed the phone hadn't been unlocked.
I mean, you had the rest of the board around it being like, here's the video playing.
Oh yeah, I guess. That could have been the
This is my lot of
This
screen.
is a growler to you now, and now it's
What I'm saying is that I think you would have noticed to see something. A star in the sky. They were going to look for shooting
burning
stars.
meteor falling then disappears. I like the on the nose. I would never keep a secret from you, Yukiki. And then, anyway, episode 6 onwards.
Boop boop.
Welcome to the bread bank.
There we go. There's episode 5.
Right, now we're on episode 6. We finally heard the bad English.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
Yeah.
English is not good. English is not good. The rest of the episode though, it's pretty cool. Episode the holy relic activated. Jono, do you want to describe what all that's about?
To be fair, I'm not really kind of lost. What was that? Something the government have and were moving elsewhere, and then
Yeah.
like their secret group just like stole it from the government. They were like, oh, now we want to put it. Oh wait, what was the?
The EU had it,
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
Brussels bureaucrats took it from the British population, and they gave it to Japan. And that's why we're leaving
to
the
write
EU.
off some of their loans, Harry, so the EU economy doesn't collapse.
Yeah. So then the EU gave it to Japan, and then this episode started with a naked woman torturing another naked woman in like a BDSM outfit. Yeah.
That's a bit harsh. Neither of them were naked.
One of them was.
No, it was
No.
the Russian
No,
one.
one of them was.
One of them was
No,
completely
you're
naked.
definitely wearing something.
No,
Alright.
She was
Alright, they were wearing very
hair.
little.
Yeah,
She
okay,
didn't-
that's true.
Okay.
They weren't wearing
It's
nothing.
basically like
No.
the ads.
You going
we're getting
back?
right now.
I'm going back.
Stop looking.
See, and that's the kind of point where if someone caught me watching this show, I wouldn't be able to explain it. I'd just be like, I don't know.
You're allowed to do anything you want in this game, though. People are scared.
It's Jurassic Park, Tony. Just we were so concerned whether we could. We never stopped to think whether we should.
Oh no. We go. The English translation is. I don't think she's wearing anything.
Look at that collar
Alright.
around her neck.
Yeah,
No, the other one.
She's
The other
wearing
one.
fucking BDSM gear. The other one is wearing nothing.
Yeah, she's wearing nothing.
He's wearing
Like-
nothing?
The one torturing her.
Yeah.
That's just her hair.
Oh, I thought that was like a cloak.
No,
What the
that's
fuck
her
kind of
hair.
cloak just covers that part of your body?
No, not even just the hair. I thought she was wearing like a. I just didn't realise her hair was that long. It looked like a
Yeah.
gown or a cloak or something.
Yeah, no. I can say what. But yeah, okay, I'll
She
give
is
you.
a
She's
bit-
wearing
she's
stockings.
wearing-
and she's
Oh,
wearing
okay.
long
Oh,
She's
it's
wearing
fine.
stockings.
It's
She's got
fine.
a collar. Okay,
Okay,
that's
okay,
two items
okay.
of clothing.
You know, I'll allow it. I'll allow
Between
it.
them, they have a full outfit.
I mean,
Can we make this the thumbnail?
Don't forget this, Chris.
This is gonna be fucking blocked on YouTube, so I wouldn't. But yeah, she is the villain. I mean, not to say that
Of
female
course.
sexuality is evil, but she is the villain. It's probably why she's torturing her other companion that we've seen, the one that's using the Nehushtan armor. Anyway, yeah, they were moving. They were getting their orders from Mr. Hiroki, who is the Japanese defense secretary, right? He was assassinated by a mysterious group and that is presumably linked to whoever was speaking English earlier. And so maybe the orders were changed, but anyway, Hiroki gets the orders anyway somehow to the main guys, the main fucking guys, the Symphogear crew, and they're like, yo, we have to move Durandal from where it is at the safest point in the country, in the abyss level of the fucking place, to like some random chemical plant, and they try to abduct it on the way there. And Hibiki activates Durandal and turns into a true monster, and it's quite cool. It's quite sick, man. Actually,
I do always love reading those descriptions of those ads that pop up.
it's impossible to last 5 minutes playing this game.
5 minutes, Tony. That's 300 seconds. That's crazy. How can you not last? 60
Okay.
times 5, yeah.
Fair enough.
I like the implication that it's just like you won't live that long with this game. It's just so good.
It's like
It's like the end of King of the Crystal Skull. Just you learn too much and die.
If you fail to last 5 minutes, you go between the space between spaces, like the aliens at the end of Crystal Skull.
I'll scroll down and read some more, John.
So I can't believe it. People are scared to play this game, the sexy Mario game.
You can take off our underwear in the game. Oh my god.
Well, the thing is, to me, these ads and the anime we just watched, there's very little differentiation.
Yeah.
In my mind, they like done the same thing.
The anime justifies it more.
Yeah, but I don't want it justified.
Tony.
I just don't want it in there.
Okay,
Tony, the
nice.
reason why these specific ads pop up is because these
Because it's
sites
a
know
very
that the people
dodgy
who watch
site,
these
to be fair.
shows.
Yeah.
It's because they know that people who watch these shows are into these.
I mean, if you fucking went and watched a Ghibli film on kissanime.io, it wouldn't suddenly become like wholesome. You know?
That's why
fair
Ghibli
enough.
films
That's
are
fair
good.
This game can train your brain to think strategically. No joke.
Oh, thank God.
It is my
To be
new
fair,
favourite.
that's probably going to be like a good game.
No, it won't.
teaches your brain to think strategically. It's got to be good.
They all send you to the same place.
Yeah.
Actually, no, one of them might send you to Fab Titans or Fun Titans even. And could sense it.
Jonathan, have you watched that David Gorman thing, right? Where you know what I'm talking about, right? You know who Dave Gorman is? It's the comedian.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. Have you watched the episode where you know the thing that he does where he's got like a crowd and he has like a massive board and he projects something on it and he says, "Oh, this is something that I got up to this week." Blah 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 blah. Okay, never mind. That's alright. It's just seeing these ads remind me.
Let's watch the next episode, lads.
Alright, but only one more because I'm quite hungry and I probably want to go home to eat.
Love that in. Keep that in.
Ethan can't last 5 minutes watching this show. It's got to eat.
Welcome to the bread bank.
Yeah. I think from minute one in that game, I was just like, I'm not enjoying this.
It's decent.
Krakens! Just like I was saying, this is not good.
What is it the NPCs say, Harry? What's that line?
Medale? Is that it, Tony?
Something like that.
Medale?
More
Maie.
bandits.
Maie?
It's
Medale.
magic. To me, those are voices from like my childhood, so I'm like, I hear those
Yeah.
like,
Popcorn.
Arcantos.
Like when I hear Super Battle Droid, take him down!
Yeah, it's
Watch
that
those
sort
wrist
of.
rockets.
It's that sort of thing that I have with Arcantos, fighting old battles again. Like, yes, it's jamming. Anyway, this is not Age of Mythology.
Jonathan, have you started playing Last of Us? The PS3's down now. You plugged it all in and set it up.
I haven't actually played any of it yet.
The bit in Star Wars Battlefront 2 where the clone troopers just like, even though Jango Fett's alive, they're like, it's Jango Fett! And he's brought his head with him! It's like...
Yeah, and I think there's also like Darth Maul. There's like, Darth Maul puts all of him, but just like they seem to understand he got cut in half. Which is
That's quite funny.
Alright, this episode of the Mediate Podcast is brought to you by if it's impossible to last 5 minutes playing this game.
Brought to you by the Metro Music Company, which I secretly own. in my
I thought
spare
that you were
time.
about to say that we are sponsored by Squarespace or something. Like
And they were sponsored by
NordVPN.
sponsored by Fat Titans.
Fun Titan.
Click the link in the description and use the code
When you upload this
Use the
entire
code.
thing,
Why are you looking?
when you upload this, can you actually include a link for Fat Titans, please, in the description,
Alright.
so people can actually go on to
You
it?
can actually get a fucking virus.
Alright. Anyway, this is what's it called? Symphogear.
Yeah.
That's the name of the show.
Yeah. We just watched episode 5, maybe.
Hopefully, we've
Yeah,
watched 6 now.
We just watched 6.
Boom. It's episode 6.
Oh, that's good. Alright. Who wants to recap?
Ethan, have you done it in a while?
I don't think I've done it once, but the issue with me recapping this episode is that it's the first episode where I've just started to. I can see moving images on
Can
screen.
you see the
but I'm not
band
taking
game has
them in.
returned?
Yeah.
I can see
Band
that.
game has returned.
Manhunt 2 in Australia.
So unfortunately, I don't think I'd be the best to recap it. I wasn't
What do
really
you
paying
remember?
attention.
I'll fill in the gaps.
Well, there's a part where Miku's being attacked, and then the orange-haired girl steps in and saves her.
Yeah, you were just awake for like the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. It was because I realised in the last 5 minutes that I'd probably be the one asked to recap the plot, so I should have something to mention.
Well,
The blue-haired girl's got really cool hair.
mm.
That's the one thing I like about the show at the moment. The tidying up, that was pretty funny. I don't know if it was meant to be funny.
Waits until the whole room is clear and he's folding the fourth towel. It's just like, oh, you don't have to do that.
Noise are basically the slimes of this universe. Where it's like, I can kill noise, that's fine. But I'm gonna
That's true.
Yeah, but I'm gonna empathise with humans. And then there's a line where she's like, this is all my character descriptions. What about you? And then she's like, you're not listening. I'm gonna punch you so hard in the face you'll listen to me. And then she does that. And then another mushroom cloud goes off.
Yeah, it's very good. I like the whole through line that Hibiki is the person who will try and speak to her enemies and try and communicate because they're not noise, they can understand each other.
Reason.
And and the villain, Chris, who's wearing the Nehushtan armor, is like, you don't understand what you're talking about, I think it's quite interesting the whole there's like quite a long conversation where Tsubasa and Hibiki are talking in the hospital about Hibiki, she fights because she just wants to help people, and Tsubasa's like, that's optimism, that's you're gonna die one day probably, and to be a warrior you have to distance yourself from all that. It's quite interesting, the ideological, the philosophical battle that is in Symphogear.
I mean, maybe it would be interesting if it's not been done in like every other thing.
Fair enough. But it hasn't been done in a mech idol show yet, John. And it's also the fact that the same episode is also Hibiki is like, sorry, Miku is like thinking Hibiki and Tsubasa in like a cheating on her. She's like, oh no, she's got a new best friend. That's why she's been running away from me. It's quite emotional. I'm into it. I'm invested. She's trying to get her armed gear, guys. Does anyone know what that is?
Well, like the red one had like a spear before, and then the other one's got like a sword, and so I'm guessing she's got a magic upper weapon at some point.
Yeah. Ethan, go on.
Um,
You sold on this yet?
I don't think I ever will be sold on this.
And watch all 4 more seasons.
I mean, I'm sold on it as the concept of a bad to okay show.
Yeah, that's probably about where I stand. It's also got the same thing where this just appreciates my rating for a show. I really don't like anime that has a lot of... It's not the fact that they're young female characters, it's the fact that their voices are always so high-pitched and squeaky, and I just can't stand that sound. It really puts me off. And so much anime has that. Has young female characters that have those sorts of voices. Like, can't you just... 8th grade. She's in 8th grade, and her voice is... I can listen to it, but in this it's just like, oh... It's just annoying.
I think
it's in your face.
It's meant to sound like they have the conversations in the middle of the fights, and it sounds like as they're singing and like talking, it sounds like they're fucking dying. You know, they're like screaming their fucking heart out. I kind of like that.
Yeah, but I don't mind screaming. It's just again when it's so high pitched into such a high frequency that I just do not want to.
Is it because of you're so deaf from listening to music so loud that your high or pitch audio range is just deteriorated?
I mean, that might be it. I just kind of find it very, very annoying, and I have to put up with so much of that because all the anime that you've chosen on this channel, apart from I think maybe the ones that I really do like,
All
have
the ones
those characters.
that you've picked, apart from the ones I like, I don't like.
I think you've got the heart of criticism there.
In fairness, Neo Yokio is an American show, and I mean SAO Abridged, the abridged version of it was, I guess it was done by Americans as well. So I like American anime. It's when it's Japanese that I take issue with it.
You just like Stefan.
Yeah.
Racist. Okay. Well, that was me punching Ethan so that he would understand my words and my.
I don't understand
my
your
voice.
words. I just choose to disagree. with
What's
them.
your blood type, Tony?
I actually don't know.
What's your weight
is.
so that we can have an actual conversation?
It changes like every day.
Yeah.
Oscillates. Jono, come on. You know you're giving this a 10. You know you like this show more than I do.
Oh,
It's that bitch I got Rogue up.
he's ORH positive.
Oh shit, does it say on your fucking NHS?
Nah, that's my blood donor card. Oh my god, that's stuck.
You give him blood, Harry?
You know what?
Oh, all the blood is going to replace the blood that Spassa loses whenever she fucking sings. So the blood just leaves her mouth.
That's my other one, but that's a bit fucked at the
That
moment.
was really grim imagery.
Yeah.
Your other
Really,
red
it really
cards.
doesn't pull
Yeah.
punches for a
That's
mech idol show.
Harry, you know that day where you were gonna give blood, but we ended up just meeting up so you couldn't do it. Did you reschedule that for a different day? Did you do it?
We didn't meet up that day. I think
Oh, so did you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What day was that?
Tuesday?
Oh.
No, was it Tuesday? Monday? I don't know. Tuesday last week? Who
Fair.
fucking knows? Anime. It's alright.
What do you think of the emotional drama, Harry?
I'm not particularly invested in the emotional drama. It's kind of got to the point, actually, it's kind of my fault, maybe a little bit. Well, I'm just a bit bored by it, and I don't like using bored as a criticism, because it's obviously like, it's the shittest thing you can say about something, because it offers no insight. But I think it's more just like, something with this premise should just be golden. It doesn't need to be 24/7 action, but the downtime scenes when they're at the school, or the downtime scenes when they're like talking about like politics, for me are just so uninteresting, because it's a lot of, maybe it's too confusing, maybe it's the way it's structured, or maybe it's me not paying attention. It's probably all three. That just I have nothing invested in this, and I'm not particularly kind of empathizing or relating with any of the characters apart from the blue-haired one. Her hair is cool. That's like the only point I have to
Do you
make
like when
about
she
it.
has a sword and then gets a bigger sword?
I mean, it's fine. I don't really like the stylistic, like Pokemon type. This is the move that she's using right now. I feel like that's kind of overdone. In terms of the editing, that kind of red flash thing, I'm annoyed at myself for praising that in the first episode now, because it was used to such powerful effect, and now it's just being kind of used just randomly. It seems. I like this, got a little bit more brutal, but no, I'm finding myself losing interest. And if there's like 7 or 8 episodes left, it's only, I know it's only, my opinion of it's only going to get worse over time. It can't really pull something out of the bag, I don't think.
I don't know. I feel like what you say about the concept, like I think it does come into its own like stronger in later seasons, which we will eventually watch. You know, it's a matter of time. It's inevitable. But I don't know. I think I do see what you say. I do prefer the action scenes because they're what I remember Symphogear for. You know, when I go back and I see like the bath scene, and I'm like, why am I looking? And the torture scene. I do think like, well, these are things that I remember the show for, and I didn't remember them so.
But like,
no. But I didn't mind like the the downtime moments.
Yeah.
You know, like the hospital stuff.
It's more I just don't really give a shit about any of the characters, so it's kind of like,
characters are the best part.
yeah, exactly. So what am I going to get out of this show? Apart from just liking
like the
them?
characters, Stockholm syndrome, into liking them. It'll work
What's
eventually.
the deal with adding?
But they're playing food.
What's the deal?
Why they decided to add like political exposition and like a political plot line
Pretty sure
involving
that was
government agents and stuff like that. When originally the show had like this dumb concept of they fight in mech suits and they use the power of singing, and it was like
I think
you can
that-
take it
I
as
think
face
that
value as a
makes-
dumb show.
I think that
Now it's
makes
trying to take
it-
itself a bit too serious.
I think
Yeah,
that makes
I
it
agree.
even dumber, the fact that it's contrasted with like all this like political movement, and it's like, well, we might have to embargo one of these countries to stop the Symphogear knowledge from escaping.
Nah, I think it's basically done the downsizing thing of it's given up on its premise. And, like, it's just doing.
I mean, they
it's
still
just
sing and
doing-
have fight
yeah,
scenes.
just doing a generic anime. But the idea of balancing the life of being a pop star with being like a warrior, it's kind of completely ditched all that for just like we're just government agents, and then there's some songs that play in the background, and we don't even emphasise that we're singing. Really, I feel like the fun of the first episode was they were literally at a concert, and I was like, okay, this is so insane. I think I'm gonna like it. But it's kind of, I feel like it's ditched that premise.
I think the government thing, like, it always was weaving in so many like weird things from nowhere. Like, it starts with like, oh, this is an ancient relic, and it's like they're singing there's aliens. I don't know. I feel like the fact that they're government agents is just quite funny, like in context.
It's like I said, I think it would have benefited from being a feature-length film rather than a 13-episode
Well,
series and 3 more on top
Well,
of
the
that.
14-time Oscar-winning live-action film is coming, so don't worry about it.
Okay, are we gonna end it here and continue next episode?
Yeah.
All right,
sounds like a
smash
good
that
idea.
motherfucking
Because if I
like button.
the other thing is, if I carry on watching now, I will just stop paying attention to what's happening on screen. I don't want to do that. I want to carry on being like it has my attention.
That's true. Well, I respect that at least.
Mm.
At least you admit it. Let's go. Next episode.
Go Gadget Steve.
Welcome to the bread bank.
Right,
We were a remote podcasting thing before it was cool. I just want to say that. You know?
It's like the joke Chapo made about...
when we started doing the Symphogear episode of Animediate, which is what you're watching right now, Dan, or Xander, we didn't even know what the coronavirus was. We didn't even know what the future would hold. And now look at us.
I think it might be a year in between segments on this podcast. Like, I think they're just going to be watching this YouTube video, and it's suddenly a year has just passed in the middle of it, and there's been no editing to explain it or anything. It's just.
Well, that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I
Okay,
guess this
a
is
year's
the sort
passed.
of...
This is like the fucking Avengers Endgame 5 years later, like bit that just comes up. We're all like seasoned fucking veterans. Anyway, does anyone know what happens in this show?
God. Wait, can I just before we start? I think we watched the last episode before you started uni, Tony.
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause we did it in person, and we haven't had the time to do anything like in person of Animediate since I came up.
So when would that?
So
When
it
would
would
that
have
have?
been fucking 2019.
It would have been during last summer, surely.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Because I'm pretty
We
sure
didn't
we
do
did it
any
at
at Christmas.
Jonathan's.
Then. We didn't do any at Christmas.
No, Christmas we met up
I-
once, I think, maybe. And we just
Yeah.
played COD
Yeah,
for
we
6
did.
hours, right?
That sounds about right. And then Tony came up to Sheffield when Johnny
Like
came down to
once.
Sheffield at the same time, and then Ethan, you just went absent, so we couldn't do anything.
Fucking Ethan dipped.
So yeah, Symphogear, it's been a while. Like my anime redemption arc has happened off screen in between episodes of Symphogear.
It's fine. We're gonna get the dramatic flashbacks to your training arc of learning to like anime.
Yeah.
We'll
So basically, I'm
explain
just gonna.
everything.
All that's gonna happen is during this show, I'm now just gonna go like, oh, this reminds me of Neon Genesis Evangelion, the one anime that I've watched and like.
It's true. I mean, it's got mechs in it. You know, that's enough, right?
I remember making a joke when we were watching Symphogear originally, and they kept mentioning like the UN and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is dumb.
Yeah.
And then watching Evangelion, and they were doing it, and then being like, hey, it's like Symphogear. So it's actually got the reverse thing.
God, Jonathan, this is a lot like The Last Kingdom, isn't it? With all those mech suits in it. You remember the episodes I'm talking about.
Yeah, the mech suits. Yeah, you've got to pray and it
just
powers them up.
Don't know if The Last Kingdom has the same meme potential that Neon Genesis Evangelion does.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's just not the same. It's just not the same.
I mean, it probably has like an ending, whereas Evangelion doesn't. They had to make a film, right? Anyway, Tony, do you want to give us a recap if you remember?
Okay. Oh man, I'm gonna have to strain. Okay, so the plot of Symphogear, right? It's about main girl Hibiki, goes to a concert, started in episode 1, and it's like attacked by these weird, like kind of alien looking things called
right?
Noise.
Yeah.
Noise, and fucking Tsubasa and Kanade, who are the two performers who she went to see, use their like Symphogears. It's the name of the show, people. Which are like these weird robot suits that are powered by J-pop. And Kanade dies. It's sad, and then Hibiki gets Kanade's Symphogear somehow through like a implant, like a fragment of the relic going inside her body, and then she has to team up with Tsubasa, but they don't really like each other, and wacky hijinks ensue. And I think now at this point, episode 7, they are brain blast. They're trying to like recover an artifact from some rival girl that has stolen something, I think, and it's like a callback to the thing that was stolen from the very first episode. It's called like the I think it's called the Nehustan thing. It's not called that, but it's something like that. And basically, there's going to be a fight this episode where they sing about things and fight about what they have to protect, and it's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun. Do any of you have any to contribute that you remember?
I remember they had like a color scheme, right? So I think that the one that died was red, and there was a blue character who didn't like them as much. And then our protagonist is a yellow, I think.
Like orangey, I think.
Yeah. I remember that. I honestly don't. I probably should have listened to the things we'd recorded earlier, but I could not be asked.
I think it's funnier to go in media res, non-linear storytelling style. Oh yeah, that's another thing I forgot.
The one thing I can remember is that there's like Kojima, or was the name Hideo? Whatever way Hideo Kojima is in this.
No, it was the person that voiced them was called Hideo. It was like the loosest fucking reference of all time.
Well, yeah, I forgot another layer of fuckery to this is the show. The very start is like, oh man, it sucks that the main character of this show is dead. And then it flashes backwards to the concert, and then forward 2 years, and then 7 episodes later we're here. So, and now we're a year later coming back to it.
It did have a very weird framing device. And I know how much Johnny's a fan of the start at the end trope. I think it's one of his favourites. So,
it's a good one. But the problem with Symphogear is this show kept getting like, not cancelled, but they kept thinking they were making the final season, and it came back, and it's like eyes emoji.
I thought you were about to say that the show was going to carry on getting more and more empowering. Wasn't that the original premise that you sold us on?
That's the resounding theme. Is that there are women in the show that if you could see their power level on a graph, it would go up at a certain point. That's what female empowerment is. That's what feminism is. What wave of feminism are they up to yet? They're doing like 4th wave.
I think Symphogear takes it into the 5th wave.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's an N+1 feminism. Fucking hell.
This is right. Like Tony, what you said about each season like kind of wrapping up. I think is actually a good thing though,
because like so often shows just get cancelled, and because of the way they're kind of constructed, you never get an ending. Making each season as if it's like almost a film, and it's kind of got its own complete ending. So it sounds kind of cool to me.
Yeah, it's good, but it's also they have to then unwrap everything that was closed off when they make the next season. But we're just doing one season for now. For now, people. Eyes emoji. Let's fucking watch it now.
Welcome to the bread bank.
All right, that was episodes 7 and 8 of Symphogear we just watched. Who remembers what happened? Because we also had a massive fucking rant about catching up because we haven't spoken in like a year. So I've forgotten. What about you guys?
I mean, I wasn't paying much attention in the first place. Really.
Fucking hell.
I guess so. Yeah, in that first episode, they had the big fight.
Yeah. Chris and Hibiki had the fight.
And then, like, Chris started like doubting. Oh, you know, maybe I'm on the wrong side here.
Yeah, start being convinced.
Yeah,
I'll be the baddies type deal.
Yeah, led some like children that had got lost like back to their dad that they had lost.
They got lost, yeah.
Yeah, which is apparently I've not really seen that before in anime, but you said that was like a big trope.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that happen. I'm pretty sure it happens in like ReZero and like other stuff as well that I'm blanking on, but I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where. I mean, they don't do it in this because Chris is just on her own, but it's the kind of thing they do to like show that someone's being like a couple, right? Is they just like get like a fucking like teenage boy and girl, but they have them hang out with like a kid to be like, cool, look at them, they're a fucking happy family. But it's some other fucking random baby, you know.
Yeah, I guess there is that in Sword Art Online.
Yeah. That whole thing.
Yeah, this was just to like reinforce the kind of have her doubt her way of dealing with bullies effectively, which is she's just like, yeah, let's just destroy anyone that's mean, and then began to realize that makes her mean, and actually she should be like these two kids and make up with the people that she's fighting with, and so she like goes back to the big evil Russian naked lady and is like, hey, I think you might be the bad guy, so I might leave, and then she's sort of like, haha, little do you know, I have no use for you now, and so will, like, potentially I was trying to kill you. I didn't succeed. You kind of just showed up unconscious at the beginning of the next episode.
I think
after credit scenes in this.
I think she ran away and then was found by Miku, because the other plot that's going on is because Hibiki's trying to keep her whole being a mech idol superhero job a secret. That's causing tensions with the old wife, her platonic gal pal Miku is kind of sad, and there's been like a whole rift forming, and then Miku finds rift, and then Miku finds Chris and like helps her a bit. So yeah, that's what happens. Which is pretty nice. It's like drawn a cool parallel, I guess, between the problems the main girls are facing. Harry, Ethan, you were also there as we watched this show.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the fact you said we haven't talked in a year, but the one thing we do is we look at pictures of Pokemon and just say a number between 1 and 5. Somehow found the time to do
for like 8
hours.
8 hours, though.
Look, that's how we communicate our feelings. That's how we show that we're fighting for something we have to protect. Is we just say,
I think the end game
like,
for that podcast has got to be we take all the
Giraffe rig 3,
Yeah. My family kind of judges. Well, mostly my brother sort of judges me when I'm like, oh yeah, this evening I'm going to be doing a podcast. Just like, what? You're ranking more Pokemon for like 8 hours? Like, oh yeah.
It's the defeat in your voice.
Jono, you should get your brother to come on and do it. Have that fourth member.
Can't imagine yes. Like
It's just a podcast we do that wasn't me just forcing on everyone as well. This wasn't even my idea.
yes, but I think it's a lot of fun. It is just funny though that it is completely raw, unedited footage of us just doing it straight for 2 hours, ranking Pokemon. That is, because
there was the one. The third one was 2 parts, right? That was an edit.
Yeah, but that was technical difficulty. Xander watched it and was like, "You really could just like edit this down or trim it." I'm like, "That's not the Mediate way. We fucking ramble on about nothing." So anyway, Symphogear.
Before we go to Symphogear, I'm just going to say the end game for the Pokemon podcast. We're going to reveal it here. Is we're going to do every generation, all the Pokemon, and then we're going to have a competition. We're going to take the highest ones and then make them fight against each other. So we're going to vote for which ones will win until we have a finale of like the 2 best Pokemon of all time. And then we're going to get Ethan to decide which one's the best. He's going to come on just for that one episode.
This is news to me.
Yeah. I imagine Ethan would decide by like a really dumb reason though. Be like, "Oh, that one's blue, I guess."
I'll just say Pikachu if that's one of them, because he's the only one I know the name of.
Nah, because me and Johnny were like being contrarians and didn't give Pikachu a 5.
Fuck's sake! Wow. Imagine.
But how does that work?
Did you know
He's
I would
basically
give
the
a
main.
5. Symphogear.
He's not even the main character. He's the main Pikachu. How can he be bad? He's probably the one that you know the most because he's the main one. You've been around him the most, whereas most Pokemon are only in one episode, right?
If you want to hear our reasons why, there's a whole ass fucking podcast you can listen to. But Symphogear, though.
Yeah, it's just an okay show. I like again the music's alright. I'm not particularly invested in the characters at this point, but that might just be because there was a year between episodes. That doesn't help. Hideo Kojima is like he can do like he's
really strong.
He jumps a building, and I'm like, oh, he has superpowers, but he's like, no, he's just very strong. So that was the thing that happened. What else happened? Oh, these 2 girls who are about 10 sleep in the same bed and spend like every waking moment together, and they're just friends. They just have a very strong platonic friendship. And one was reading about cats. There you go. That's about all I remember.
Ethan, do you remember anything that happened?
I know that the plot is moving forward because they are getting more powerful.
Yeah, there were moments where they were empowered, where they activated their Symphogear relics.
There was something more to it.
Covered them in.
It wasn't like they were just empowered.
You talk about Persona, Ethan.
Sorry.
Persona.
Yeah, there were some pretty good shots in that second episode that we watched. Yeah, I think it's.
I think the appeal is kind of. It's like over the top kind of high school melodrama, like fucking, I'm sad because I want to be your friend, but you keep a secret from me type stuff. But also the fucking hype moments that hit when Hibiki is fucking leaping across town with like a mech suit that like extends out from her like legs in a cool ass way, and punches noise that just sort of stand around and exist to be destroyed. It's pretty neat, pretty good. I'm having a good time with Symphogear. It's a shame that I mentioned this as we were watching it. That Symphogear music is the type of music that like takes 100% of your brain power. It's like fucking Lucy, It's like fucking you have to be on the limitless drug to watch Symphogear. Because it's just like very, very intense and has a lot of fucking noise to it. Wink, nudge. So I'm like listening to it and I'm like, fucking what is Ethan or Harry or Jono saying as we're watching this? I cannot pay attention to it. I'm at my limit. But anyway, it's alright. I'm having a good time. I'm excited to see where it goes.
We could just end it here and it would be exactly the same
I
outcome.
don't think anyone is watching this. Like, we joke about Xander and Dad, but I genuinely think this will never be found, ever.
No.
Like, we could say anything.
Why are we doing it? Life has no purpose, no meaning.
I think this is what quarantine has done to us. We managed to fucking make podcasts that no one watched for 3 years, but we put us alone in a room for like a month and we like lose our marbles.
I mean, at least, like, we would, I don't know, because we were watching the anime in the same room together, we were getting more out of it.
Yeah.
And, like, the other things, it was basically, like, making other people watch things that you wanted them to watch. But this is, like, you didn't even like this that much, Tony.
Yeah, I think it does make me think, like, man, I wish I... I give it a 7 out of 10 because I really like the characters, you know. But if it was just this, I probably wouldn't like it that much. I'd probably give it a lower score. And watching it does make me think, like, fuck. It looks way better in later seasons where they can, like, I don't know, animate the fights way better. But I don't know. I think it still hits those high notes, you know, when you need it to. It still punches, you know, hard. I think it is interesting how, like I mentioned it's like Symphogear went through a lot of moments where they thought they were making the final season and then were like, fuck. We sold 50,000 copies of the OST for this. So it made tons of money. So we're making another one. It's like, fuck, we gotta fucking work out something to do. You know? And Should
this be the final podcast? Should we just, like, upload it as, like, call it the final podcast? And then if one person comments that's not us, then we'll continue Mediate.
We get those bots that comment, right, that are like great videos, that have videos that are like about search engine optimization or whatever.
Well, every now and then we get kind of lucky or unlucky, and Gwynny comments on one of our videos, so I hope she'll get her act together and watch our Symphogear podcast and comment on that.
Sup, Gwynny.
Some of our videos do just have more views because they actually have good thumbnails, and I'm like,
yeah,
damn, I should have not made the thumbnails.
But then we also have more videos that get more dislikes than likes than we have the other way round.
I think that's because I fucking dislike a video when I'm like, oh, this is fucking bad. When it's like really shit audio quality or something.
That's like a lot of the early ones though.
Yeah, whoops.
What do you think is the worst one we've done? Or the least interesting?
It's definitely Boys in the Hood.
No, but I feel like...
interesting, I don't know.
Would you hear me out just a second? I don't mean from a technological point of view, where it just sounds shit. But I mean from an episode where none of us had anything to talk about.
Maybe like one where we just all agree and don't have much to say.
I think the least interesting is Retcon, because it's just listening to a bunch of people who you've never heard before recount their opinions on stuff.
All of them, though.
Yeah, but... Alright. You might have, like,
it's never not that.
You might have seen the film or played the game and listened to an episode and get something out of that. But Retcon is not even about that. It's about our previous opinion.
Retcon does not.
But Harry, those opinions sometimes evolve and change. Don't you think that's quite exciting?
Yeah, but like, they wouldn't have any prior investment. It becomes more about our opinion of the thing than it becomes about the thing.
But that's what a podcast is about. It's about what we think of the things we're reviewing. I don't know what you mean, Tony.
Yeah, but it's like us rating our own opinions of it, though. Okay. It becomes too meta.
Okay, I suppose that
becomes a level divorced from reality.
I always thought that the idea of doing a podcast means that there's always going to be some level of arrogance with us four, where we automatically think our words are gold. So that's why we do a podcast in the first place, because we want to get that out somewhere. So listening to us talk about our own opinions, which we've already talked about, is like a dream to us four.
It's the fact that we just had a conversation once and we're like, I bet people wish they could listen to this and not be able to interject. They just had to fucking sit there.
It's a very weird artistic medium.
He's got his charm. He's got his charm.
The
I
thing is,
imagine.
though,
I imagine.
I do know someone who's listened to a lot of these episodes.
Azure, right?
Just
She
because
listens to quite a few
Yeah,
of them.
just because. Hello, if you're listening,
Yeah.
Ajay, message me. But just because she likes background noise, she just likes conversations happening around.
Oh, she's told you that. has She likes background and white noise, and that's why.
She just listens to a lot of
A
podcasts.
podcast is
She
good for
likes to
vision
have
stuff to have, just playing in the
people
background.
talking.
I can't imagine what opinion someone would have of me if they had only heard me through Mediate. If I existed as in purely a parasocial relationship sense to someone, that'd be strange.
Next time you come to Sheffield, Tony, I'll introduce you to her. Because then
That'd be fucking weird.
the one fan that we have, I think.
Tony, you don't know anyone at Stoke who listens to you. You've never recommended us to anybody, and they've listened to
I
us.
showed.
No, I'm not saying you
showed
should.
Xander the
I'm
bit.
just asking if that's
No,
happened.
I showed Xander the bits in the Pokemon ones where we talk about his favourite Pokemon. So where I shout him out, like I go and then show him that part of the podcast, you know. I showed one friend some parts of the podcast as well, but I don't think they got that very far because they were like, "Fucking hell, this is just three people saying numbers with next to images of Pokemon."
I guess when I asked that question, I meant more someone who doesn't know us personally, but I guess you. But then
Let me know
Xander
if
does
you're
know
watching
us
this,
for.
Jay, yeah. Or I mean, both the people would know me, and Xander would know all of you guys, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. But yeah, I was gonna
I love
say
how-
back on Symphogear before
Get
we
into the Symphogear podcast. This is just like a 10-minute chat.
Yeah, but this is also the final podcast, right?
Oh yeah, this is the
This-
final
this-
one we're doing.
Before Mediate 2.
this is the final podcast, and then we come out with Mediate 2 immediately.
Let's just
Alright.
go. Sorry, everyone who's got picks coming up. They've now been cancelled.
Mediate's cancelled.
Cancel culture has gone too far. It's finally cancelled the Mediate crew for our sins. One last Symphogear point, so we can end this segment. I was gonna say, despite the fact that it's been like a 7-year long show, right, to get all 5 seasons out, and the fact that they had to keep restarting the whole thing, it is kind of interesting watching this season 1 and seeing the beginnings of the theme that is the overarching point of the show, and how they take what's kind of rough background noise, and sort of extrapolate it over the course of the show. It's quite interesting. It's quite neat. They sort of take the I was going to say it's very Neon Genesis Evangelion-esque, and where they take this almost the theme of communication, right, and that's sort of what is the through line for all of Symphogear. Miscommunication mostly, but anyway, this fucking podcast is miscommunication. Let's fucking end it.
Johnny, what do you think?
I still get that quoted to me sometimes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. We just have a
Welcome to the bread bank.
I'm just going to be giggling for the first minute or so of this.
it's
It's not even related to Symphogear.
no, through some extreme chain of logic, through some Genjuro-esque leaps of logic, it is related. Take the motherfucking gluten out the bread.
Alright, hello, welcome to this part of this podcast. We watched 3 episodes of Symphogear. The first episode I wasn't really watching, but Ethan was, so he'll do the recap. The second one, Johnny can do the recap, and I can do the third one, because I was watching that one. Although Tony will need to give all the key plot points, all I caught was the bit about the moon. Ethan, do you want to do the recap of the first one?
Yeah, so I made 6 bullet points of moments that stuck out to me as worth noting down, just so that I actually had something to say when it came to this point.
You made notes.
Yeah, can you believe it? So the first one, oh, they're so bad. So the first one is Patrick Bateman made an off-screen appearance in the show. There's something about videotapes on screen. Someone has to do something. Someone has to return them. Long overdue.
Genjiro tells a little fib about where he's been, and he says, "I have to go return some videotapes," and it's quite fun.
Mm-hmm. So the next thing I've got written down is the scientist talks about young love.
Mm.
Then Hideo finds the purple-haired girl, and the purple-haired girl escapes. And then the girls all go on a date together, and then the blue-haired girl gives a concert before announcing that she's going to go on tour.
Yeah, I think you've got it. I think you've hit the nail on the head. A pretty chill episode, all things considered, despite the fact that Chris fucking leaps out of a window, Obi-Wan style, at one point.
What? I guess it's just to get out of that conversation, but
Yeah.
it wasn't even like it was that. You didn't seem to be getting
was
too
out of the
distressed
blue.
by that conversation. No, all right.
You know what she had been given by Genjiro though is the fucking bread.
Alright. The second episode, Johnny, before you do it, can we just talk about the high ground line? Because I think that was, I don't know, was it the best moment so far?
It was a nice little reference.
Yeah, but it wasn't that in the second episode though?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I thought we were,
right.
I thought we were
going
moving
into
on.
Yeah. No, that it's probably the best line we've had. Up there with another that I think happened in the episode that Harry is gonna cover, but it was just the fact that it's a line that just gives you like all the like it's a big reveal, and it's just so clunky because it's 2 things that have such a long name that turned out to be the same thing. But anyway, second episode, there's a lot of fighting because like 3 there's like groups of noise have shown up, and then they spend a while, like the 3 that have the Symphogear powers, like talking about how they need to be friends and fight together even though they all kind of hate each other, and then one of them is like, I'm just gonna shoot them all because that's what I do, and they're like, oh, but that's gonna be too hard, and then she's like, no, it isn't, look, I'll just do it now, and then just does it, and they win.
I mean, good for her. She did it. Well done.
Mm-hmm. There was something else that I vaguely remembered happened during that. Oh, I guess you've got...
But the English,
that's
right?
where you have the bad English, yeah.
Okay.
Some more bad English, where the scientist is in the evil person lair, and then a bunch of US soldiers jump in, and then there's some weird dialogue about fucking... what was it, like... child Uncle Sam, or...
Yeah, well, she calls the Americans Uncle Sam as like a fucking joke, I guess. Because a bunch of Navy SEALs show up and just gat her.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be fair, as Harry pointed out, despite how bad their English is, I doubt our Japanese is any better, I'm fucking... The Duolingo owl is currently yelling at me, saying I need to learn the word for fucking cat or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, but you say that like we've created a show
to be fair,
we're impersonating Japanese.
If you don't know English, I'm sure it tricks enough of your brain to be like, okay, they're speaking English. I'll read the subtitles in Japanese now, and just know that it kind of sounds cool, I guess,
Yeah, I wonder then how... Because that makes it feel like... Because I guess with this show, they were just expecting the first season and to be done, so I guess they weren't expecting it to become big outside of Japan. So they wouldn't really feel any need to like focus on, well, sort of sub or dub, like expanding the audience sort of stuff.
Yeah. Which is, fair enough. There are definitely the odd moment where the limited budget of the first season of Symphogear rears its ugly head, And I mean, I think it's good that it did. You see this epic tale of the show's growth over the 7 years that it ran for, which is quite nice. It's quite nice. Should we get into the third episode then?
Yeah, I think the last thing to say about the second episode is that Hideo Kojima, who doesn't have superpowers, he is just very strong. Even though in the second episode they actually say, "You guys have superpowers."
Yeah. He has spirit power. That's what it is. I think one of my favorite lines is like he's just holding up this massive like rock, and he's like, "I used my spiritual power to protect us." And it's like, oh, I guess that's a thing that exists. Fair enough.
Yes.
What I love as well is the reason that he says that, because that's not the answer to the question the person asked him. Like, the question the person meant was, like, why did a bomb just go off, rather than, like, or why are you standing there, like, with one hand holding a large chunk of rubble above your head?
I think that that scene is very critical. I mean, when we analyse the film, which is not a film, we have to really analyse this scene of Hideo Kojima lifting up the cinder block and then saying it's about spirit. Because then in the later episode, we find out that he doesn't all the training he does is eat, sleep, and watch films. And the reference to spirit leads me to conclude that he is a fan of Ponyo. There's no other explanation for how he is as jacked as he is. But so this episode, basically, the last episode ended with the noise attacking. They had a moment that lasted about 3 minutes where they held hands, and the noise could have killed everyone in that time, but they didn't because they stay still.
Because they were waiting their turn. It
all
was
the noise standing, doing nothing on the rooftops.
Yeah, the one that was the villain that isn't anymore was like, I will simply kill them all, and then did. But then they're attacking the school. So the third episode starts with a line of soldiers standing completely like next to each other and just firing and going, "Oh, weapons are no use," and then getting killed. And then someone comes into the school and then gets fucking Thanos snapped. And then cut to credits. Then they're in a lift. And then the villain, who also looks like Thanos, but she has underboob, comes down. And then we have the greatest moment ever where she gets shot in the underboob. And the bullets, it's like hitting metal, they just drop to the ground.
It's even like metal will have a small bullet hole in it. The bullets just completely crumple.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's just the armor or if the underboob is just that strong. But yeah, Hideo Kojima then comes out and then fights this person, and it's looking easy for Kojima.
Yeah.
Tony then debated us, which I didn't know was a word. But by leading us to believe Hideo Kojima would live, and then he died because he obviously died. He got stabbed by a giant fuck-off sword, and then went like and closed his eyes. But it turns out he's fine.
Received no medical attention.
Yeah, he received no medical attention.
He got a fucking bandage
wrapped around him, even though he had a giant sword skewer him, and he's just walking around. He's fine basically. So he really does have very good spirit powers because he is just fine. What else happened? Oh yeah, there's the big twist that happened in the last episode, which I didn't even notice in the last episode because I wasn't paying attention. That the English character, I think it was the English character. I don't even know. Was it them? I don't think it was them. Some villain was secretly the scientist the whole time.
Yeah. The villain Fine is secretly the scientist, Dr. Ryuko.
That explains why they were a sexual predator.
Yeah.
This entire time.
They're meant to be evil.
And then they reveal their plan is to shoot the moon.
Yeah.
Because something about the Tower of Babylon being real, and then she tricked them into building it as an elevator shaft.
Mm-hmm.
That is the line of dialogue I was talking about, where it's so long and clunky because it's like, oh, the Tower of Durandal is actually the super safe under the school bunker elevator shaft. It's just, I love it.
I imagine if you weren't watching the show in a Discord call, you'd get it, I guess. Basically, how it goes is that it's because Dr. Ryuko, right, is the scientist, secretly being the villain, who wants to reconstruct the Tower of Babel in myth, which is called Kadinga in this for some reason, and remove the curse of Balao, which is the thing that destroyed universal language, which is also the moon. And basically, she wants to confess her undying love to God, which is also a line that is in the last episode. And she was able to, trick people into building the whole tower underneath the school, and it rises up at the start of this episode, and we get the main Sympho trio fighting Fine for a bit until Chris has to make a dramatic sacrifice using her swan song and trying to stop one of the beams, send it off course to only destroy part of the moon instead of all of it, which is a W. Anyway, that's what happened.
And then you watch her body fall to earth as everyone is like, "Oh no, looks like she's gonna die from impact." It's like she sung the song that kills her. She got shot by super laser.
By a big gun
that blew a chunk off the moon.
Yeah.
And now she's fallen to her death, and her body looks fine, which is
people
impressive.
are fucking tanky in the Symphogear universe. A lot of HP are going around.
Yeah, the fact that Kojima looks the most injured and he got stabbed, and this person got, point blank hit by a moon destroying laser.
I just like to point out once again the very tenuous link for why we call him Kojima. That the voice actor who voices him has the first name Hideo. That's the only reason we call him Kojima.
I forgot about that. Fair enough. That's a good reason to call him Kojima. Though. Kojima
I have no idea what his character is.
His real name is Genjiro Kazanari because he is the blue-haired girl's uncle as well, and they're both Kazanari. Anyway, fun fact for you game theory watchers in the chat.
But that's just a game theory.
A Symphogear theory. A Symphogear
Ethan, what did you
fact.
What did I think of what?
Ethan, what did you think of the second and third episode of Symphogear?
Well, yeah, they were actually not too bad. They were pretty jam-packed. A lot of stuff happened. I remember when we were watching the episode when the tower rises out of the ground. It has a really cool design going for it. It's probably one of the most memorable parts of the show, considering I don't remember the first 7 at all, really.
It was more than a year ago, to be fair.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I like as well that we're referring to these episodes as the first, second, and third, where it's actually this is the 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's like in Ran how they just always refer to the castles as the first castle, second castle, and third castle.
Well, you're forgetting all the castles that have been burned as well.
Yeah, the real moral of the film Ran is don't burn down castles because eventually you'll give up your castles and then need castles to go to. It's a very relatable message about the number of castles needed in a society.
Jonathan, did you see the link between Ran and this show where they have different coloured costumes so you can differentiate between the characters?
That's a good way to have a show, Just
it
colour code things.
It feels more natural than an anime rather than a grounded samurai drama based on Shakespeare. It feels a little bit more far-fetched in that, having the characters colour-coded throughout the entire film.
They in the middle they sort of change into different looking outfits. I mean, the main thing you've got is they all seem to have sigils that are a different colour. So troops sworn to each one of them have different coloured flags. And for the middle brother, who his soldiers also have red tinted armour, he's is the most distinct one. But Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I'm glad they did it because it's already quite a complicated plot on its own. But with that added thing, you can tell the three brothers apart and who the soldiers belong to.
I have no. Are we talking about Symphogear still?
We're talking about a great piece of Japanese art and Akira Kurosawa's Ran.
I wonder if Akira Kurosawa was also inspired by Hideaki Anno's Neon Genesis Evangelion.
He died before it came out.
But the thing is, he had the philosophy of time, though, Harry.
He'd opened the.
He'd seen
infinite
Donnie
corridor.
Darko.
He'd achieved the ultimate goal of philosophy.
Okay, well, I think an important question to ask before we go into the final two episodes is, you guys having fun?
Yeah, these last few episodes have
You know
been
what?
quite enjoyable, actually.
That's all that matters.
Yeah,
That's what Symphogear aims to achieve.
So I wouldn't say the last few have been fun, but the last one was fun.
Well, we'll see. We'll see you guys after the final episode then. All right.
Symphogear. More like Symphogear.
More like simp.
We got whole wheat, gluten-free, Texas toast, gluten-free, tortilla. Fuck all that. What bitch-ass country are y'all from?
Welcome to the bread bank.
Yep.
All right. That was the end of Symphogear. We watched the last two episodes, which are the final fight.
Yeah.
Who wants? I guess I'll recap these last two because you guys recap the last one. So basically, it's the final fight with Fine, who is using the Tower of Babel. Fucking had a stroke there. Babel to fucking destroy the moon, and it comes back from after Chris sacrifices herself to stop one of the beams from destroying the moon. Only fucking knocks a little bit of it loose, and it's also fucking Chris goes like berserk mode, like Unit 01, and fights Tsubasa at some pit, and then they use the power of singing to like knock Hibiki out of going insane mode. They destroy the tower that's going to destroy the moon. They fight Fine, who's got fucking Durandal, which is the big sword. They use Durandal to destroy fucking Fine's weird Nehustan armor. So now those two relic things are gone. They activate their final unlimited Symphogear form. What are you wearing? The white recolor of my Symphogear outfit. Which, by the way, for any Symphogear super fans out there, this is a real obscure bit of lore for you. Symphogear, the sympho in it. It's a little reference to symphony or symphonics. You know, that's real subtle, you know. That's the kind of name you have to Google to understand, I'll be honest. You know. Ethan, do you know what a gear is by any chance?
I know what
Like
a
when you
synth
say-
is.
Do you
A
know?
sympho, in fact.
Good,
Do
because
you know what a simp is?
it's Symphogear. Okay, so they use the power of singing to fight for what they have to protect. It's a pretty awesome climax where Fine in her last moment is like, "Fuck y'all's. I ain't never had none of this shit with your fucking bread," and takes the moon chunk that's been floating down, turns it into a meteoroid, burning, falling, disappear, and then ... unless what would happen if we put our Minecraft beds next to each other? No one knows. And they all have to go into space, use their telepathy to communicate in space because there's no air, which they set up in the last episode. They did set that up. Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you're keeping score, and they destroy the moon chunk. Everyone's happy. Save the world. It's quite
I would say that it fake out kills like the main three
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
in this
Yeah, lot of fake out deaths in Symphogear. Lot of hyper melodrama moments. Lot of
Well, a lot of moments where
singing.
characters should have died, but somehow
Yeah.
managed to pull through despite
Yeah.
very, very lethal wounds.
Yeah, that's just the power of song, Ethan.
Well, the
That's the
fact
power
is
of the
that
song in your heart.
It's
an
the power of
established
invincibility
thing
more
that-
than anything.
Yeah, it's an established thing that you die if you sing your swan
Yeah.
swan song. And what's the name? The one that turns that's part of the group. She gets to sing 2 swan songs
Yeah.
in the course of this finale.
Yeah. I mean, I think the one at the end, right, is they're all singing it. They're holding hands, which means they take less damage because they've got the power of friendship. But I think how it normally works is it just fucking almost kills you, right? Because that's what happened to Tsubasa when she did it earlier on. She like didn't die, but she got fucking deadified, you know. And but it was the power of everyone singing at fucking Lydian Academy, all the side characters, all the anime fucking. Oh yeah, it's actually a pretty fucking funny moment where the girl whose side character whose one job is to say like make the fourth wall joke, say like, "Whoa, this isn't an anime." And then there's like a full like 30-second speech where she like full on breaks the fourth wall, like keeps like deconstructing the scenario, and it's quite funny. They don't play that joke out anymore, or much more in later seasons, but you know, she's all right. Yeah, Symphogear, real cool final fight where they go beyond their limits. Use the power of singing to unlock a cool version swap of their outfit and do a really big punch and fight for what they have to protect. Said it enough times, I think. I think you guys understand now. Symphogear, what it's about.
We don't understand why you think it's 7 out of 10 anime, though. That still
good.
eludes us.
7 out of 10 is like a pretty good. It's like, yeah, I'm having fun with this, and I quite like the characters and the uniqueness of it all. Because on a scale of mech idol anime, fuck, it is up there, you know? Can't think of any other contenders, I'll be honest.
Yeah, but you know what I'm
seasons of Symphogear.
If something's a 7 out of 10, then that means it's the worst thing yet created.
I remember the first episode thinking this is a really cool premise, but then they just didn't take it in a particularly interesting direction, and just kind of had like a generic kind of they're not really in mechs, are they? They kind of are the weapon. You are the weapon.
Yeah, they're like very like small mech-like things.
They're just kind of generic-y
It's like a
action
suit.
scenes that I've seen in other animes, and I don't even watch that much anime. With like some fairly like decent music, but I feel like the gimmick of like them having to sing kind of it could have been like fun if they'd explored it a bit more. I got to admit, the last 2 episodes there was a lot of spectacle, but I was pretty checked out, you know. There was a bit where they were sang, and then started thinking about Casablanca, and then me and Ethan were talking about Casablanca. I read some reviews of Boss Baby on Letterboxd. They were funny. And then me and Ethan were just like quoting The Departed to each other on WhatsApp.
Fucking hell. What a terrible film. What a garbage film.
We were laughing about Jack Nicholson saying the N-word in the first minute of the film, and then no black people appear for the rest of the film. Martin Scorsese's the actor racist.
MCU films, though, they're bad.
I just want to play that opening right now. It's so good.
You just want to hear "Gimme Shelter," don't you?
I just want to hear Jack Nicholson say he doesn't want to be a product of his environment. In the
we
low
gotta
quality
find-
version.
Yeah, we gotta find the low quality audio version of it again.
Which is also what
Alright,
Tony sounded
well.
like when he was going robot mode that one time.
Okay. I think Symphogear it's a very like upbeat show where the characters are super on their heart on their what's the expression? Wearing their heart on their sleeve, kind of about their emotions. You know, it's really like over the top and about a lot of dramatic backstories, working through trauma in like an over the top anime way. And I don't know, I just find all the people kind of endearing in the way that they're all big dumbasses, but kind of adorable. It's a lot of fun.
You did make the joke that I think does hold true, where it's just like no character holds back when it's like talking about themselves. It's just like everyone just opens up to anyone else who just happens to be in the room at the time.
Yeah, they're just waiting for their chance to have a dramatic monologue about how they feel and what's causing them sadness. And it's great. I think the real world would be a lot better if that's how people acted.
I think there's definitely something to be said about the idea of that every kind of everything now, like all the humor we have now, is incredibly kind of ironic and something to be as genuinely like endearing and wholesome and unafraid to kind of just, I don't know,
to be itself.
Yeah, just to be kind of happy. I understand why that would kind of connect with you if you watch a lot of anime and like this kind of genre of like cute anime girls, even though they're like 14, which I still find weird, being like
They age as the show goes on, Harry. I get to watch them grow up in real time.
You get to see the bar chart of them getting more powerful. But having like a wholesome message.
That's what feminism is.
Having a wholesome message presented like through that lens, I definitely get that. I feel like I don't know.
That's all I want.
If I wanted to kind of like a feel good kind of thing, I'd probably go to something more like a Paddington 2, which is like, I guess that scratches the same kind of genuine, sincere itch for me.
But would people get the shit beaten them out of them in Paddington 2 though?
You haven't seen Paddington 2.
I haven't, to be fair. Can you imagine?
Me and Johnny were
just
screaming
actually fucking obliterated. If you see people get impaled.
I guess
so that's one of the notes I have about this show is that like it is so dark when you just think about what you've just seen, and it's like a whole city got nuked and a whole school got destroyed, and like now there's just like a room full of the school kids that are the survivors.
Yeah,
which just makes it feel so weird that then it's this sort of cute kind of happy thing. I feel like when you're trying to get those sorts of wholesomeness, the Studio Ghibli films do a much better job of sort of nailing that.
Yeah, I think Johnny does make a good point, because why it doesn't work for me as like a wholesome thing is because you will have scenes of characters just saying how they feel and they're fighting to protect, but then it is kind of contrasted with some humor that doesn't work with the character that just keeps pointing out they're in an anime, which is that incredibly like ironic kind of sense of humor. And then like these kind of darker action scenes, which you have the kind of very vibrant ones, but then I think that's in contrast with the plot fight scenes, if that makes sense. Not just like the pointless noise being killed. The plot scenes are a lot more kind of dark in their tone. So I don't really know. I don't know. I never know what the target audience of anime is, because it always feels like in its themes and like what it's trying to say, it's going really low. But then sometimes in like the violence and like the character design, they're obviously catering to like a slightly older audience. But I never really know who a lot of this is for.
I think they're catering for people like me who lack emotional intelligence and like you just look. If you want me to understand the fucking theme, you have to yell it really loud while you're punching something, or I won't get it. You know.
I think it's into people who really like watching very empowering television.
It really is the modern feminist masterpiece we needed.
Yeah.
Can't wait to log this, among the likes of Portrait of a Lady on Fire and Lady Bird,
As long as you don't mention the Handmaiden.
There's probably one woman
that's
in the
an
credits.
interesting point, Harry. That was all the fucking voice actresses, at least, who are very talented. Nana Mizuki's great, Aoi Yuki.
I love the English accent. I like that. That scream was great.
Oh, the scream in episode. I think that was in like 9 or 10 where Hibiki gets fucking pissed off at the arm crane machine. That's truly alien. But I will agree that sorry, it was Harry who made this point. I never agree with Ethan. When Harry said that it's interesting that it's a wholesome appeal despite having such dark scenes. And I think the fact that you get that intensity from the dark scenes where like shit really gets bad is what like helps you to like not take the like emotional sappy stuff like too lightly. It's like, oh, it's not just someone crying about how they feel sad, like how it might be in like, I don't know, a children's thing. It's like, oh, this person's sad because their fucking friend died, and was disintegrated in front of you. It's like, you know what? Fair enough. I understand your pain.
Yeah, it all sort of reaches a kind of meaningless point where, because there are so many fake outs, you're just there sort of being like, well, they're not really
I
dead,
know,
and they're just
I
going to be
know,
revealed,
Jono,
and
but it's
the person who's now having this massive like heart moment is just going to be completely fine. Like the ending of this series is just sort of the friend weeping uncontrollably at the gravestone of her friend, being like, oh, I miss you so much. You can't believe you're probably dead. It's hard living on without you. And then just like 30 seconds later, she just drops down. Just like, I'm fine. I've always been fine.
I
and then
get
they're just like,
that,
we're
Jono.
friends again.
I get that, Jono, but at the same time, it's like a magic trick, I'm not there trying to be like, the secret is, I don't want to find out. If I really thought about it, I would be like, actually, I have a feeling when I sit down and watch this piece of media, my money's on the good guys winning in the end, because that's how it normally goes, But I watch this because I want to fall for the hype melodrama, like, oh no, everyone's just used their swan song and they're dead. So that when the fucking opening kicks in and they're powered by phonic gain and the 3 beams of light show up and everyone who you thought was dead, they're back again and they're gonna fight again and punch really hard and sing about their feelings, and it's great, So 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know, because this definitely feels like a quintessential very average anime. But I guess my scale of average would be a 5. But I also understand why it's a 7, because if I liked this template of a show more, and just watching the fights was like visually more interesting to me, and I'm like, yeah, I want to watch cute anime girls fight and sing songs that I like. If that was something that I like as a baseline enjoyed more, I probably would kind of give it a 7. So I totally get why it being like a kind of medium that you're more invested in, you definitely like the show more. But I think
Harry, you know what we've done? We've overcome the curse of Balal and have understood each other beyond words. That's what we've done now, Harry.
I actually do enjoy that conceit of the sort of trying to destroy this like separation of language and be able to understand ourselves in a better thing, and like as a way to unite the humans, and also just she wants to be able to tell God that she loves him, which is that's quite an interesting conceit.
Yeah.
The fact they just also married into a kind of more typical villain plot of and because the mood is now destroyed, like there's going to be tons of earthquakes, lots of people are going to die, and then they'll have to renounce me as their all-powerful ruler. It's like don't like that as much.
You've lost me at that point.
It's an interesting idea with the Tower of Babel.
It is interesting.
I think it shows just how batshit crazy the whole thing is, that I don't even question that the moon is the curse that stops us from being able to talk the same language.
Sometimes the moon just be like that. Sometimes the moon is weird things in shows. There's another mech anime where the moon is a big mech. That's a nice reveal.
How does that work?
It's a very big mech.
gonna say, in Doctor Who, the moon is a creature that gives birth to an egg and then just flies away, and then that egg quickly grows into another moon.
Fucking hell.
Nothing's quite as good as the moon being made of cheese in Wallace and Gromit, though.
Oh, that's probably the favourite one, actually. I love that little robot that's skiing
yeah.
on the moon.
Iconic.
It's the worst Wallace and Gromit
King-
film, though. That's
shit.
my hot take, unfortunately.
Well, The Wrong Trousers is the best one, right, according to IMDb.
Obviously, it's the best one. Also, the best cultural use of the moon is obviously the final moment of Portal 2, where you shoot a portal on the moon, because you had the foreshadowing that port surface is
But
not moon rock.
that's just the regular moon, though. The moon isn't something strange.
Yeah, but the moon is a portal surface. Is cool, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
If we're talking about the moon being things, the moon sometimes just be things, as you said. But but I don't think we can wrap this podcast up without the obligatory mention of Neon Genesis Evangelion, because Johnny talking about the cool things it was doing, I'm like, it's kind of just ripping off Evangelion, though, right?
Harry has the brain curse. That's what the curse of Balal is. It makes you think everything's Neon Genesis Evangelion.
But it is.
Which, to
It's
be
like-
fair,
it's
it is. It is.
Combined
though,
with the
like,
language,
it is.
using this religious thing that is actually real. I'm like, oh, okay, it seems familiar. Yeah. Okay, that's it. I'm not gonna say anything more about Evangelion in this podcast.
Yeah.
Until Animediate 8, where I bring it up again.
Go.
To the next thing we
back to
record.
scoring things and understanding each other. I agree with Harry in terms of it being a midline thing, which for me would be a 5. But understanding how it's a 7 for Tony, but also at the same time as understanding all that, I'm gonna give it a 4 because I don't really like it. I'm the other end of that spectrum where this is, this is the okay type of anime, and if you like this style of anime, then it's a 7 out of 10. But if you don't like this style of anime, then it's gonna be less than a 5. So it's a 4 from me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Ethan's gonna give it a 7 just because he does not give a shit.
I mean, I think it's better than Casablanca, so I'd probably have to give it a 9 if I was being
Thank
as
you.
fair as I could.
Thank you.
We gotta do Casablanca one day on this podcast, just to see if Tony and Johnny like it, which they should, because it is a classic.
Yeah, I think it's surprising. I mean, I don't want to say surprisingly. Actually, I don't know why I said that, but it is quite. Yeah, it is quite. No. You don't know what I was going to say. I was going to say it's surprisingly wholesome, but it's not surprisingly wholesome. It just is wholesome. Full stop. That's why I took back what I was going to say. That's all.
I have not seen Casablanca, but I have seen White House Down.
God, why did you just say those two films in the same sentence?
Tony, did you hesitate because you were working out if it was White House Down or Olympus Had Fallen?
I did get them mixed up, but also the joke would not have worked if I had said Olympus Had Fallen.
Olympus Had Fallen. Can anyone here right now tell me which one has Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx in, and which one has Aaron Eckhart?
I know
and Morgan
because
Freeman?
they're in the one I've seen, and I haven't seen the other one.
Olympus Has Fallen is a Gerard Butler franchise. I've seen White House Down, and that's the Channing Tatum one. Jamie Foxx.
Did we go see White House Down together, Harry?
Did we? Maybe we did.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Why?
I don't fucking know.
Why did we do that, Ethan, give it a score. Also, this is the end of Mediate, right?
Ethan, what do you give White House Down?
Remember halfway through this podcast when this was about the end of Mediate, this episode?
This is the rebirth.
Ethan before he could change his score off a 9, and we just kept on talking.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to leave it as a 9, even though it's not that good.
No, same here.
All right, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, we good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
See you next episode.
25.
No need to say any more.
I mean, why are you saying see you in the next episode? It's the end of Mediate.
Well, we're gonna have
we
to
just do this each time. Claim that this is the final episode.
Keep faking people out so that when we bring it back, the hype can be there, Jono.
Oh, guys, we need to have an emotional, like, crying scene where we're like, I can't believe this is the end of Mediate. Like, Harry has died off screen. He's sung his swan song. He's never coming back from that.
I was killed by Blinks. You guys better prepare for war.
Blinks is here.
He's coming for you.
Look, if you played some like a bit of sad piano music and then had a cool J-pop riff come in at the right moment, I would be down for it every time, Jono. I'd never get tired of it. Oh man. So, to briefly explain what you can expect from the next episode of Animediate, I think it's going to be more of like because we're powering up, right? We're going into our near final forms of Animediate. I want people to fucking...
We unlock the white Symphogears.
Yeah, that's true. We're increasing our phonic gain. There's going to be like a brief, almost like a sort of testing round. Like, we're going to watch the first episode of a couple contenders, and the one we all agree, or the one the most people agree on, I guess, that they want to watch and think they'll like and agree with the score I give, is the one we'll watch. So it looks like I'm a genius and I've planned ahead.
We're almost coming up to the point where Ethan would say something's good. Obviously 8 isn't good for Ethan, but when we hit 9, that's almost good. And then 10,
yeah, but finally,
finally
for 9 we're going to watch No Game No Life though, which
9's almost, but not quite good enough.
Which is what you gave Symphogear, so...
I don't know. I thought it was pretty top notch stuff, if you ask me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Better than the Handmaiden.
The Handmaiden's
a better
just a bad
feminist
film,
story
Harry,
than the
I'm sorry.
Handmaiden.
On par with Under the Skin.
Look, in any of those, if any of those feminist stories, do the women literally get powerful enough to destroy a falling meteorite? I bet the answer's no.
That doesn't cause a falling meteorite.
Exactly.
Because like, in this film, it's all women. Both the bad guys and the good guys. And then there's also Hideo Kojima and that other magic dude that's not been revealed to be magic yet.
Oh no, he does a cool flip at one point. You can see he's got some hidden potential.
What you can say about Symphogear's gender politics, at least like most of the characters are women. So it always passes the Bechdel test. At least it's got that going for it.
Yeah. Could be worse.
Are we done with this hell podcast? It's probably like 3 hours long because we recorded it in like across 2 years.
I really want to see the emotional journey that we go on in the final version of this.
This is the worst one we've done.
Editing this together, Harry.
I bet it's pretty good, actually.
It might be the most incoherent.
Oh yeah, it doesn't make any sense because it's got 2 years of disparate memes sewed together that will make sense to no one. But let's call it there and see you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching, everybody.
We shall achieve the final goal of philosophy.
Years ago we had the church. That was only a way of saying we had each other. But now, I don't know, it's a funny thing. It put hate in your heart. The Knights of Columbus were real headbreakers, true guineas. They took over their piece of the city. 20 years after an Irishman couldn't get a fucking job, we had the presidency. May rest in peace. That's what the